So y'all doing nice live on the fly.
Wait. Oh, did you not cue the intro? Oh God, we're live, right?
No, I guess I didn't cue the intro.
Well, we know for a fact it's live, right?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull this up now. This is awkward. We're gonna cut this out in the actual clip, right? Yesterday was a lot smoother than this.
Well, you know, they say in content creation, the first 5 seconds is vital for capturing the audience.
Oh, no, we are very live.
So we've just lost everyone, right?
No, they're
This
happy.
is 15 seconds of, I don't know what to
They're
do with
happy.
my hand.
They're extremely happy.
Okay.
Yeah, our 3 fans
Yeah.
are
Right.
really loving this.
Yeah,
Wait,
hey,
yeah, your parents, and who else, right?
no, it's girlfriends and wives
Oh, okay.
mostly.
Okay.
Some friends, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Talk Haunted to Me. This is day 2 of Hauntlanta. I'm Chris.
I am also Chris.
Hey. So introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Joseph Camo. I am an associate professor of sociology at Georgia Southwestern State University, and I'm here because I like the paranormal, and I teach a course, Sociology of Paranormal Belief, and doing a little bit of research sociologically related to this. So I'm just here meeting a lot of awesome people like you and some of the other folks that are in this space, hearing their stories, learning from them, trying to just get to know more about this community so that it can help me be a better instructor in teaching about this and researcher. And also it's just fun, like, right? This is my spring break trip for myself. And so I this is part vocational academic-y, but it's also part hobby and just having a really good time, you know, hanging out with a lot of cool people and hearing a lot of cool stories.
Yeah, I do. I like the community too, just because it's they're very welcoming,
Yeah.
and open. And there's not like a what do you say? There's not a stigma related to the discussion,
Yeah.
so you'll get honesty from them. They're going to tell you everything they've seen, like that. So it's probably really good for you to see. But they're not gonna be guarded, so you at least get their information from like them.
Oh, it's been so amazing. Like just in general, just interpersonally, everyone's been so welcoming, and there's nothing gatekeepery about people here. I mean, I've had wonderful conversations with people who have been on television in multiple series, and would, you know, people would call them celebrities in this space, and like, you know, they're just the most humble, real people you can talk to, and they're very welcoming, and it's been great. And then I meet, you know, just people who are just weekend warriors who love this stuff, who are really eager to share their love for it and share their stories. And I'm taking it all in. And it's just been more like I came here hoping it would be kind of a good experience. It's been more than I would have expected in a really good way.
Yeah. It's a very addicting hobby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that adrenaline rush you get, regardless if you know how scientific you're actually attacking it. And then a lot of people just go in and go and feel the vibe. Maybe they have a phone or a camera.
Yeah.
Maybe an EVP device or something like that. And then you got the hardcore people who break out the actual tech, and they're debunking and all that stuff. So there's a wide range of seriousness. But at the end of the day, it is fun.
Yeah, well, that's great because like people access something at different levels and in different ways, and with different things they're looking for from it. And when you've got a space like this where whatever it is you're interested in, if you just want something to entertain yourself on the weekends, you can find a space for it. If you want to do peer-reviewed research that you publish in an academic journal, I can find space for this. If you want to do a podcast, if you want to sell hot sauce, right? Like this nice gentleman right here, like it's just this world that is so eclectic and diverse in terms of how you can choose to be a part of it. And there's really a good opportunity to carve out your own space in it because it's so open in terms of what it is and open interpretation of how it's to be defined. So, you know, as a sociologist, I'm just obviously nerding out on those macro level aspects or meta level aspects of the community and what's going on, in addition to the really interesting, like hearing someone talk about their ghost story. Like that's interesting. And so is that meta level stuff. So no, it's a cornucopia, if you would, for someone who looks at the world nerdy like me. But whatever your approach and whatever your interest is in this space, there's a way to find that, which is really great.
So, tell us about how you, like a better word, attack the paranormal aspect of things. And you look at it through a different lens than say just your weekend warriors or whatnot. So
Yeah, so like there's how I approach it vocationally in
Mhm.
terms of as an academic, and then also just as a person who enjoys it, right? And those things sometimes they cross over, sometimes they're a little bit bracketed and separate. Like as a person, I just if someone tells me that they've seen a ghost, I want to hear all the details. I'm
Yeah.
just fast. Now, I have not had a paranormal experience. Do either of you read Harry Potter at all?
I
I-
watched the movies
Okay.
When I
didn't
was a
read it.
kid.
You
Okay.
read it, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so there's a reference. I borrowed a term from Harry Potter. Like
Mhm.
there's a term in Harry Potter, squib, which is someone born to a magical family who's not magical, right?
Mhm.
And I call myself a squib because I don't have paranormal experiences. Maybe I will someday. So, there's all these hypotheses about people who are more or less sensitive. And so I call myself people who are not sensitive and don't have those experiences squibs. But I still love it, right? I want to go to Hogwarts, even though I'm a squib, right? So as a fan and as a person, I'm just fascinated by it, right?
Mhm.
But in terms of how I approach it as a sociologist, you're absolutely right. There's a different kind of approach. And a really good starting point is something we talk about in sociology called the Thomas theorem, which basically says if we define something as real, it becomes real in its consequences. Meaning, regardless of whether the phenomena is a ghost or a leaky faucet or whatever, if someone has that experience and to them it means something, they're going to act as though it is this thing, right? This is how sociologists approach the study of religion, right?
Mhm.
Does God exist? As a sociologist, I can't tell you that, right? You have your opinions, I have my opinions, but as a sociologist, I can study what do people do with the idea of religion? What's its role in society? How does it impact our lives, right? How does it impact our society as a whole? So the way I approach sociology is really more from a sociological perspective, approaching the paranormal is not studying the ghosts, it's studying the people, right? Like I did interviews with 24 people who had encounters with apparitions or ghosts, right? And whether they were really ghosts or something else, I don't know. And it's not for me to decide that, right? But what I do is I look at how do they talk about that experience? Is the language they're using connected to frames of reference that are rooted in religion or science? Because the paranormal is kind of defined by being that which is rejected by science and religion and is left over outside of those institutions is then paranormal, right? Science doesn't acknowledge the idea of Bigfoot or whatever, but people who are scientifically minded want to go and investigate and see if it's real, right? So those weekend warriors are trying to find that primate that science hasn't discovered, are taking a scientific approach to something science rejects, right? So when I look at these interviews, for example, what kinds of language does someone use to talk about their experiences, and are they pulling from religious or scientific frames? So for example, these are from actual interviews I've done with people. One person, they talked about that they saw ghosts when they were like 9 years old, and they said, well, I didn't want to tell my dad. I was afraid he was going to think I was crazy, right?
Mhm.
Well, when you think about the idea of sanity or craziness, that's rooted in this kind of notion of rationality, that rational people, scientifically minded, don't have these experiences. So this person was reconciling their experience through this lens of rationality. I don't want my dad to think I'm crazy. So that's a science adjacent. Someone else, for example, said, though, I grew up and in my culture, ghosts are real, spirits are real, but you don't mess with that stuff. It's bad, bad juju, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever. And well, that's more of a religion or spirituality frame of reference, right? That this is somehow spiritually something you avoid. So I look at those kinds of things. How are people talking about it? And is that rooted in frames of reference that come from science or religion? And that's just one little piece. Sociologists who look at this look at what groups demographically are more likely to be in the paranormal. Are people who are more religious or less religious? Well, the research says the people who are most likely are the people who are kind of religious, but not super religious. Because if they go to church once or twice a year, they're open to the spiritual. But if they're going only once or twice a year, they're not so rigid in their dogma that they reject, right? So sociologists look at those kinds of things and examine those things when it comes to the paranormal.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see like the different cultures and how they look at paranormal.
Yeah.
Like there's like cultures that are like it's matter of fact that is a part of everyday life, that their spirits around us and they interact with you and all that, and it's accepted. And then you have other ones where like it's taboo to even speak of
100%.
the paranormal. Another thing, us being in this area in Georgia, like that's we're below the Bible Belt. They're a lot less likely to accept it. There'll be places that are known to be haunted, but the current owners don't believe in that kind of stuff, so they don't want you talking about it. And then you look above it, and like, Ohio and Pennsylvania and stuff, where they're like, "Hey, come see our ghost." Like, so,
Well, let me share a story that is absolutely to your point, Chris. I have these two dozen interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
People telling their stories, and I've got a couple other collaborators who are researching this with me, and one of them's listening to the interviews, coding them, and she messaged me. She's like, "You need to listen to participant number 17 or whatever it was,
right.
because that person was originally from Taiwan."
Mm-hmm.
Right, and a highly educated person with graduate level degrees, and someone I know, and the way they talk about it, remember I talked about science and religion adjacent sorts of way of talking about it. Well, in a lot of Asian cultures, like whereas in American culture, especially that is very heavily Protestant Christian influence, ghosts are outside of the doctrine of Protestant Christianity, right? Yeah. There's a soul, and it's either in your body or heaven or hell, and if it's outside of that, then it must be an angel or demon or some Old Testament example where a ghost did appear and it was like, oh, that's bad, evil, right? And it's really outside of it. But in some Eastern and Asian forms of religiosity, spirits and ancestors are not outside of the religious belief systems. So what my collaborator noted was that the way this person talked about those things was not really fitting the framework we're looking at in terms of the religion or science thing, because it was more embedded within the culture and less an outside thing from religion. So to your point, different cultures are all going to have different sort of paradigms for where the paranormal fits in the human experience.
Yeah. Even, in a lot of the Asian cultures, there's names for specific ghosts within specific scenarios. So like the scorned lover or whatever,
okay.
like there's a name for that. And then different ones as opposed to here, it's just like, there's a ghost.
Right.
We might have.
No, we have residual and intelligent hauntings. We got two categories.
Yes.
A whole two categories, right?
Yeah. Or like we might categorize by type of haunting. So there is the person, the hitchhiker ghost or something like that, or you'll see a lot of those follow, especially if you're looking state to state. There's at least one or two haunted roads with almost the exact same story. There's gonna be a lake or a river with this exact story that's always across.
These are the urban legends, and Jan Brungard, I'm butchering the name, did some research on this and talked about how those stories kind of pass on, and a lot of them are morality myths, right? That reinforce this kind of social stigma of don't be out late at night, or don't go to make out point, or the hook guy is going to kill you, right? But they're really things that are aimed at reinforcing kind of certain moralities. And we have an awesome goat man.
Yes.
Awesome.
Your last name's Goat. First name's Throat.
I have a bridge. I have a bridge.
Oh, Bridge.
Goatman's Bridge in Denton, Texas.
Yes.
Because I went to grad school there, and that's we were just talking about folklore and urban legends, and that one is widely talked about. But there's actually a Goatman's Bridge in Denton, Texas. Yeah. I went to University of Texas, did my PhD there, and
I'm gonna turn it into an Airbnb.
Are you okay? Yeah. I think that's great. Yeah, book me for your first opening.
I'll make sure you get a discount.
Okay, you got it.
It's
interesting. Yeah, that's interesting culturally. The different types of spirits that are for different social identities. The scorned lover. So I wonder how that fits into that whole thing about like, kind of urban legends as morality myths. Like, is that like, don't scorn a lover or they'll become a ghost that will haunt you? Is that kind of the idea behind that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the lady. Like the hitchhiker ones that are more like the lady in white or something are usually the same concept that the scorn lover ones in other cultures. And it's there's always a story of either she was left on her wedding day or she died on the way to her wedding day or that kind of thing.
One of my favorites is La Llorona. I can't pronounce it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm from Arizona, so, in Latino countries, La Llorona is this great morality myth. There's so many layers, right? Don't cheat on your wife because then she'll drown your kids. But don't drown your kids because you'll regret it. Or don't, there's every one of these is just this morality myth that are kind of reinforcing these kinds of expected behaviors or don't react to certain things. And so there's anthropologists and sociologists love looking at that kind of stuff.
I bet. So I forgot the question I was going to ask you. I need some more hot sauce, actually. That'd be pretty great. Or another one of those chocolate drinks he's drinking.
Or you could have some of this awesome coffee that Josh has made.
That's what I smell.
Cold brew.
I smell coffee. I was like, where am I smelling this coffee?
There's cold brew in this room.
There's cold brew right over there. Josh Sharon's got his cold brew Go hit him up. He's selling it. It is amazing. I had it yesterday and today. The Nectar of the Gods.
What are we doing here?
Oh yeah, Mike. Listen, don't talk to this schlub. Go get yourself some coffee, man.
Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned before, residual versus, the actual like intelligent hauntings. It is interesting to hear those theories sprout out. Like what represents residual, what represents intelligence, and then the other aspect is what is the like in poltergeist activity is kind of the scenario is it an intelligent haunting or is it your own subconscious,
like the egregores and stuff like that?
Is your own subconscious causing this kind of activity, or are you unknowingly moving that pillow or unplugging devices or opening up cabinets? So it's really, really interesting starting to dive into that and what everyone's theory is on it, how these spirits manifest.
That also plays into like the haunted people's theory. So you have some people that are more sensitive to others, and the study is, why is that?
Yeah.
Is it like actually like a true, like they can speak to the spirits, or is it something as you said, like hereditary? Is it something with their culture?
Right.
So
can I jump off of that? There's a great book by a guy named Brandon Masulo, and he's not paying me to do this, but some pitching stuff called The Ghost Studies. If you haven't read it, read it. Brandon, he professionally, he works in mental health. He manages, I think, a mental health wing of a hospital. But for his avocation, he writes and does research. In his book, he talks about something called environmental sensitivity. And I've heard him give talks on this. And it's this idea, the way and this is his way of explaining it, so I'm stealing this from him. But if we were all sitting in a hospital waiting room, we might have very different physical experiences. You might be perfectly comfortable, but my eyes might be getting headache because of the fluorescent lights through my eyes, and I might be itching because of the bleach I used to clean, but you might be comfortable. So some people are just more environmentally sensitive. And he hypothesizes and did some research in grad school that kind of attempts to substantiate this, that people who are more environmentally sensitive somehow are also more apt to have paranormal experiences. And you think about human sensory perception, right? Some people are colorblind, some people are not. So there's differences in our ability to perceive the natural things we can measure, right? Color spectrums. And as we get older, our ability to hear the pitches change, right? So it is absolutely plausible to imagine that whatever ghosts are, which we don't know, right, exists in some. And I view, to me, my way of looking at it is more scientific. So to me, ghosts as they are, or whatever they might be, are just science we don't understand. That's how I look at it. But in whatever layer or level of the ether we as people experience them, just like some people are colorblind and some have full color spectrum, at least human color spectrum, I might be spiritually colorblind and unable to sense those things, where someone else has that full range, or my pitch, my ability to hear is lower, right, because I'm old. Well, similarly, whatever it is about us, whatever part of our human anatomy and physiology allows us to experience it, whether it's in our brain receiving images or actually seeing something that's actually there, whatever it is, some people just have that more attuned than others in a very natural way. So to me, that's how I think about it. That's the most plausible explanation for what you're talking about, Chris. What I love about this is I just can throw back to Chris, and I don't even have to remember who asked the question.
That's right.
There's an elegance and simplicity in your model, and I love it.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it would lead to, if the theory is correct and it goes through energy, or they're drawn by energy, or they manifest through energy, or electromagnetic fields, or whatever you want to go off of, that would definitely lead into that, of like who's sensitive to that particular type. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Brandon has an article that I think he's a co-author that's like environmental sensitivity and something or other, a paranormal experience. But there's an academic article on this. Just if you look up MASULLO, I think, Brandon Masulo, and look up environmental sensitivity, you can find some of the work he's done on it. It's highly recommend checking his stuff out.
Yeah. That sounds great. All right, I'm going to go completely off topic.
Okay.
This is something we ask everyone so far today, or yesterday and today. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
I'm a yes.
Yay.
Okay. I mean, I know for some people that is,
sacrilege.
But so here to me is the best combination with that, though.
Yes.
Pineapple, pepperoni, and onion. because the onion, you got the sweet, and the onion gives that little extra bit of savory that really pulls it together. And onions also, when they cook it, a little sweet, right? Yeah, someone's
There's
having
a party right now.
Is it a party or a ritual? Are they summoning Beelzebub? I don't know.
I think
someone could argue all parties are rituals.
Right,
Yes.
right. Well, listen, sociologists have, right? Yeah. Emil Durkheim, the sociologist, would argue that. So, yeah, no, absolutely. But I like it even better with pineapple, onion, and jalapeno, too. Then you get the spicy, sweet, and savory.
Oh, yeah.
See, so now if it's just pineapple, no. Oh, they're doing a train. And it's Love Train.
Wow.
It's some of the Grateful or the Walking Dead folks.
I don't know. We can't really join this train. I don't think.
I don't even think we can film this train.
Yeah, well, I wish we need to catch this one.
Right.
Where's the podcast?
Right here. Right there.
Right.
Woo!
There it is. There's a camera.
Right,
There's a
right.
camera. I don't want to derail. I don't want to derail it. I don't want to derail the love train.
So I'm breaking up your podcast, guys.
It's just another stop on the train.
No,
Oh my
perfect.
God. I'm sorry.
No
How you
worries.
doing, brother? You
I'm
good?
good. How about you?
Nice beard. I'm fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. That was my big mouth.
No worries. No worries.
Great job, ladies. Great job.
How dare you bring a celebrity
Great
presence
job,
to this
Yeah.
podcast?
How dare you?
How dare you?
That was so much fun.
That is awesome.
But y'all go ahead and continue doing what you were doing. I'm sorry, everybody, but we
No
just got
worries.
on the love
Yeah,
train.
no worries.
That's awesome.
Get on the love train, y'all.
Right?
Get on the love train.
Y'all heard him. Y'all
Yeah.
heard him.
How are you? Good to see you, man.
Hey.
Good to see you, Joe.
Hey,
Pleasure, Joe. What's this podcast about?
talk haunted to me.
Haunted. Oh,
Yeah, talk haunted to me.
talk haunted to me, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll have what he's having.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was
I'm
awesome.
getting my coffee, whatever he said for breakfast.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I don't
That
know.
was-
A pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple
Oh,
on
there it
pizza.
is.
That was right.
Right?
I love it. We've
Yes.
had mixed reactions every time we ask that question.
Okay.
Some people are like,
See,
"How
I
dare
was,
you?"
I was tentative because you just never know what kind of room you're in with this.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This
Oh,
is like they say don't talk politics and religion at the table. I say don't talk pineapple pizza at the table because that is more divisive than all
Yeah.
of them.
I don't get why it's divisive. Like either you like it or you don't. But yeah, people get angry about that kind of
Right?
subject. I don't understand it. I like pineapple. So the goat that came by earlier,
Yeah. Does he like pineapple?
he does. He said it had there was two things you had to think about when you're doing it. So it has to be fresh pineapple, not
Okay.
pineapple out of a can.
Okay.
And what was
It's
the other?
valid. It was.
What was the other one? His first one was something else. I can't
See,
remember.
this is already getting a little gatekeeperish, though.
Yeah, I think.
Right? I
yeah.
don't turn my nose up against canned
Yeah.
pineapple, right? I'm
I
not
get-
that bougie.
I will say, it won't
I'm
stop me
not
from
bougie.
eating it. Yeah, he's bougie.
Yeah,
He likes avocado on toast. That's all you should know.
Right.
That should tell you everything.
Wow.
Listen, I do too, though.
Yeah, with my pumpkin spice
Well, it's
latte.
probably some-
Well, see, there you lost me, Chris. All right.
No, yeah, I agree with them to an extent. Like it won't stop me from eating if it's canned
Right.
pineapple, but fresh pineapple on a pizza is just another level. It takes it to another level.
Okay, I haven't had this.
Yeah, I'll eat the ham and pineapple, which is a pretty standard pineapple pizza. But my favorite is actually making a barbecue Hawaiian pizza.
Ooh, that's good.
So having the pineapple there, the barbecue sauce,
Okay.
and then whatever meat you want to add. I've done like bacon.
Let me
I've
throw
done
something
burgers,
else for you
so-
to try. Okay.
Mhm.
Jalapenos.
Mhm.
Clumps of cream cheese
Okay,
and pepperoni. It's like a pepperoni popper.
that sounds
jalapeno
awesome.
Popper.
Yeah,
cream
You lost me at
cheese.
cream cheese.
Dude,
he hates
you don't
cream
like
cheese. He's a weirdo.
pumpkin spice lattes and you don't like cream cheese. Chris, I don't like you.
That's fair. Most people
Chris,
don't.
I like you.
Thank you.
Also, I don't like you.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm joking.
Yeah.
but
I also
because
hate
dip-
cheesecake with an absolute passion.
he hates. Yeah, see what happened. This is
Yeah.
the third one you've ran off.
Yeah.
Most time they
whatever
don't
it
even.
takes.
Most
Whatever it
time
takes.
they don't even make it to the actual seat. at this
Wow. Okay.
Um,
Where do you stand on avocados? No, you like avocados.
I
Yes.
love avocados.
It's ridiculous.
But-
Coffee.
point. Yeah, he loves
coffee.
coffee. He's wanting to go to that now.
Yeah, that-
He's like, can we move on? Can we?
Can we stop talking about
Yeah.
food and drink? Because I'm okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You're on my radar, Chris. I'm just
Ooh.
saying.
That's
okay?
fine.
All right. I'm watching you.
You're on thin ice. No, but yeah, I love pineapple on pizza. I like a lot of different things on pizza. I did agree with him. I think the other thing Mike said was that you can't have too many toppings because it'll over
Okay.
it needs to be like it and one other thing or something like
Okay.
that. And I get that.
Can I give you a hot take? I don't hate anchovies on pizza.
Really?
Now, that's one where it has to do with a lot of like a supreme with anchovies. It's just a little fishiness, but it's really saltiness.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't go out of my way to order it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I think you're on my radar now.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. Here I was coming at you, and you're like, listen, man.
Anchovies, that's where I crossed the line.
Okay. That's fair. So maybe I'm the outlier here. Okay. Oh, now we got some.
Now it's just getting raunchy in here. I don't know what's going on now.
You're talking about your intro music.
I know.
That's something.
Wait for like a Betty Bop or Betty Boop or whatever to pop
this is
through
feeling
here.
good. This is a classic.
Oh, yeah.
Muse does a really good version of this, though.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
See,
Is this
maybe we
is
can
this-
connect, Chris.
Is this Michael? Is this Michael Bubbles?
Bubbly?
Yeah, Bubbly.
Yeah.
Bubbly?
Buble?
Michael Bubbles.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to watch this.
There was
He
an
say
if he does, thank you, Mike. No, there was an episode of SNL where he was a musical guest and John Hamm.
Yeah, it's
Right,
Ham
you
and
see
Bubbles
Ham
or
and
something. It's like
Bubbles?
it's a
Ham and
champagne
Bubbly.
with ham. Yeah,
Bubbly.
Michael Bubbly. This is Buble. Whatever.
Whatever. It's Ham and Bubbly.
He starts singing about how he's been trapped there. He won't let him leave.
That's right.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
forgot
great.
about that.
I love. That's what I was about to say too. Is like I call him Bubbles because of that.
Yeah. Nice.
Mr. Bob.
Yeah, that was great.
Mr. Bubbles.
Yes.
Well, is there anything else you can tell us about like what you're trying to like with your research? Like what are you trying to achieve? I know you said you have a class, right?
Yeah, I teach a class, Sociology of Paranormal Belief at Georgia Southwestern State University. I teach it as an online class, like usually during the summer or sometimes during long semesters. And, so it's a fun class, that where I look at this stuff. I also have a couple of things hobby-wise. I have a YouTube channel called The Sociology Professor where I do short instructional videos on things I teach. They're pretty straightforward sociological theories and concepts. But I also, for fun, have done this podcast with a friend of mine named Brendan Storr who has the Ghost Story Guys podcast. And we have one called Weird Together, where we look at independent horror films through sort of a social observer lens and sociological lens. We've got about a dozen episodes of that. We're a little bit on a break right now. Going to probably do more in the future. But, if you like looking at horror films from a very different lens, like how certain kind of social threads are intertwined within there, definitely that's a good thing to check out. So I'm just like, intellectually curious. I just like to learn about all kinds of things and sit here and wax philosophical and ponder the significance of whatever's going on around us, and every conversation I have is a chance to learn something new that might be something I talk about in an intro class, right? So being here with you all has been really great, and just with everyone. So in general, I think my approach is I would love to see the paranormal be something that academics look at more, because there's what I like to think of as been this messy divorce between the paranormal and science. It really goes back to the spiritualism movement, right? Because you had a lot of charlatans and a lot of people who were from a scientific perspective that got pulled into that and then felt burnt, you might say, right? And now a lot of people in academic spaces just kind of roll their eyes at the paranormal. And one of the things I'm trying to do as a sociologist who looks at it is bring legitimacy to this as a area to study. And I'm studying it the way a sociologist would. But what I would love to have happen is some, freshman takes my class and looks at the paranormal a different way and then goes on to be a physicist and actually starts studying these phenomena through a physical science lens. And, if I can play a little part in helping people think about this differently, that leads to people doing the kind of research that can help, try to substantiate the science under all of these things. Man, that would be amazing, right? So I bringing it more into the mainstream is one of the things I would love to see happen.
And that would be awesome, because a lot of I see that great divide between believer and skeptic. And I don't fault skeptics at all, because it's very hard to believe something that is not like looked at from a scientific standpoint as plausible or feasible. And if you haven't had the experience, it's a lot harder to make that leap from skeptic to believer. And there's just so much tools out there now that almost everything can be faked. So it's like, if I wasn't there, like, so people will see like evidence, be like, oh, that could have been faked. And you automatically jump to how it was faked instead of, hey, I'm going to believe this guy at his word, because you weren't there when it happened. And so you didn't capture that.
Well, I was in a talk by Aaron Sager, and he framed it so beautifully. And this is his way of talking about. He talked about this difference between like dogmatic believer who just believes everything automatically, and cynic who just rejects everything out of hand.
Yeah.
And there's this whole range of space in between that. And I lean in this sort of like all things are possible, but let's look at how probable they are. And I approach things with a skepticism, but there's a difference between skepticism and cynicism. And if you have conversations with people in this room, you'll find most of the people, especially the people who do paranormal investigations, actually employ skepticism in the healthy way, which is a foundation of science, which is look for the simple natural explanations first, and then once you rule those out, then we can explore the other things, right? But skepticism has sort of been co-opted and taken by people who seem to sometimes treat it as roll your eyes at this stuff and assume it's not real. Whereas the really healthy intellectual approach is to say, okay, I'm not convinced, but I'm open. Let's look at it, right? And let's see what the possibilities are. And we eliminate other options, then we can start studying these handful of other possibilities. And that's kind of, I think, the healthiest and the most intellectually rigorous way to approach it.
Yeah, because like in our standpoint, like, we would love for the evidence to be real and point towards the paranormal, but you wouldn't be doing your due diligence or doing it proper to not do the like trying to debunk it in some sort of way, or at least laying out other scenarios that could possibly be, and then verifying that yes, that actually that was that, or no, we've tried this, and this, and we can't recreate it that way. So this is a pretty strong evidence towards paranormal. So.
Let me add another layer to this, because like as much as I'm an empiricist and really approach things from a scientific lens, also as a sociologist, I look at the human experience as like it's multifaceted. And like, for example, I have a really good friend who is very empirical, very rational, is atheist, is not prone to believe things, but is interested in astrology as a hobby. And I don't know that she necessarily believes it. Maybe she does. I don't know. But like, we have to be kind of cautious not to be too strong, rigid gatekeepers as empiricists. And like, if there's someone who nerds out on this stuff and loves it, and it brings joy to their life, to just believe it out of hand, as long as they're not doing anything to hurt anyone else or limit anyone else's experience, like, let them live in in that mystery, right? And let them embrace the wonderful deep end of the world. So for me, what it means for me and what's important to me doesn't have to be how it is for other people. But there are some places where we can kind of say, well, listen, if you're enjoying this for what it brings to your life, then experience it however you want. Like, get your freak on however you want with the paranormal. But if you're trying to establish yourself as an authority who's making authoritative statements that you want other people to subscribe to, then I think it's fair for us as part of this ecosystem to kind of hold those persons accountable to certain kind of rigors in their methodologies and critical assessment and having to, when I say critical assessment, it's like just like when I try to publish something in a peer-reviewed journal, that gets sent out to other scholars who then pick it apart, and I have to respond to the criticisms and embrace them and engage them, not just say, well, you're a hater, right? Yeah. So if you're trying in this space and you're trying to establish methodologies and or theories or kind of ways of doing things, then I think we need to have an ecosystem where people can critique that, right? And that refines it. But if someone just wants to enjoy this stuff and believe in all of it, Mothman, and have that big Mothman poster and believe that is absolutely true, then I'm not going to try to take that away from them, right? That's meaningful in their life. And let them embrace that. And maybe I am wrong. Maybe Mothman's real. I don't know. Yeah. That's maybe a lower probability to me than UFOs or ghosts, but whatever, right?
Yeah. Like I said, if it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
I get it. Totally. But
like we like to joke, like our motto, as corny as it is I want to believe, but it's okay if it goes the other way.
Right. I think that's great, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it gives you validation. If you can wipe out all the possibilities that are non-paranormal. Like that's the holy grail of what you're trying to do. So you would want that, and then not to take it. We've had a couple where like, man, I think we got something amazing, and then find out it's not anything. And it's like, yeah, it kind of hurts. It sucks, but you can't take that too personally, or you're going to ruin this whole experience for yourself and others. So you should be welcoming to the criticism and people like trying to poke holes in it. Like how you do quality assurance testing on product. I want you to try to break it. Yeah. Because if you can't break it or poke holes in it, it's a pretty damn good product. So
and I think one of the great things about like the scientific community, for whatever flaws you might find in it, is like non-results are results, if that makes sense. Like like because like when I do a research study and I'm trying to examine something going on in social life, and I have this hypothesis that this is what's going on, I've constructed a hypothesis based on what I reasonably think is happening, what makes sense intuitively, right? And then if I find that is what's happening, then okay, then I've demonstrated empirically that this thing I thought was happening. But if it ends up being that it does not support the hypothesis, that is information, right? And just because those findings are counterintuitive doesn't mean that it's a failure. It's like, that's actually, sometimes it's even more interesting when things go against what you think. So like, and that
might even guide other
researchers to follow up on it, right? Yeah, absolutely. And then someone follows up. So and maybe if we think about what could the scientific community lend to the paranormal community, especially people who are investigators, and I think a lot of them probably already look at it this way, but that finding that something was a rickety old heater instead of a ghost is not a negative. It's a progress towards finding the answer. That when you do find the answer, or at least that when you do find the evidence that is not that heater and that is not something else, because you've gone through that process, it makes that finding that much stronger. And when you look at it as part of that process, debunking something, in your own investigations is not a negative. It's actually a positive that pulls you closer to results that are much stronger, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to tell everyone where you can find you?
Sure. You can find me on YouTube at the Sociology Professor. You can find me on Twitter at JOKOMO13, Jokomo13. Probably a couple other spaces that I'm at, but if you find me on those two places, you'll get what you need.
Awesome. I really enjoyed talking to you, Joe.
Likewise, Chris.
That was
and
great.
You, Chris, I guess you're okay.
Thank
I
you.
mean, the avocado I think redeemed you, but
a little bit. But the cheese, the cheesecake and the cheese
still on my radar,
cheese, man,
and the cream cheese, man. But I think we're okay, Chris.
All right, we're gonna take a break. Thanks for watching Talk On to Me. Thanks for checking out Joe, and let's enjoy the rest of this day.
Peace
before the storm comes.
Should be exciting.
The awkward, we're still on camera, but
oh yeah.
Well, thanks guys, that was a lot of fun.
It was fun. Best believe I was building 101. I will go with you while you. Yeah, he just left. I'm sure you can. There he is.
Love for $20 donation or more. Come by, check out the Hauntlanta merch as well. T-shirts, covers, chains. In about 2 minutes, make your way on over. Check out Mike Angus and Josh Purvis. They're going to be talking about the behind the scenes of paranormal filmmaking and TV shows. There's some good stuff that you check out. Next raffle. Make sure to pull out your raffle tickets. 96 of them, just pull the grabs. You can hit the thing and pull your ticket number. It's ticket number 1753046. 1753046. Congrats. We have a winner. Not only is going to go pick a prize of their choice from the prize table. Perfect. Good. We're out over. We got a lot of great things. Make sure you go by and check them Make sure you check them out. Jordan Black Davis, son of Heat Paranormal, and Beacon TV, along with Josh Purvis, the Searchers, Beacon TV. Then we talk about Beacon TV, the future of filmmaking, behind the scenes of paranormal filmmaking and TV shows. So be sure to check it out. We're running right across. Right next to one. You'll see it. It's happening now. Then, 3 p.m. Be sure to buy tickets for the gallery reading with Mary Lynn Bass. The gallery reading happened at 3 p.m. You can buy tickets at the welcome table. Gallery reading with Mary Lynn Bass. That's happening. Be sure to check it out. 4 p.m. Joshua Aaron will be up next. Join us and presents his paranormal picture. Got special guest songs coming up. This one's called We Are the Walking Dead. Yeah, this is by Iron Singleton. Yeah, you know. You can check out his album on Spotify. You can clap for that. You can clap for that right there. Give it up for Irene. That was awesome. I gotta walk in. I gotta walk in. We're here for that tonight. We're here to St. Patrick's Party to watch some more Irene tonight. Do it properly. That was awesome.
do that all the time. Hey, yeah. Welcome to Talk Honor to Me again. Awkward live stream, baby. Oh, yeah, I should probably listen to myself. We're here on day 2 of the Hauntlanta 2025 Paracon, with a little bit of horror in it. So yeah. They're making announcements right now. It's been pretty wild afternoon.
Yeah.
Music's been cranking up a little bit. There's been some dancing, some fun times have been had. I saw a goat running around earlier, a little strange.
That was a good touch though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris found some cold brew coffee. So
I did. Quite possibly the best I've ever had. If you're here, you gotta try it.
yeah, that's over there on the back side of the vending. Right? So Dorian.
Dorian, yeah.
Yeah, go check out Dorian's coffee. I don't drink coffee, so you definitely need to listen.
That's your loss.
Yeah, you gotta listen to that guy. I'm a tea man. I'm a tea man.
You give me hell.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Mr. Earl Grey over here.
I don't like Earl Grey actually. I'm a English breakfast tea, or a rooibos tea that I've been drinking lately. Is pretty good. So it's got like a nutty, almost like pinto bean flavor. It's a little weird.
Yeah, we're not.
Well, it's good as a hot tea. It's a very soothing tea. I love it. I think it's great. Splash of
I think you tell yourself whatever you want about that tea.
Splash of heavy cream and a little bit of sweetener.
Yeah.
Dope. Very dope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Man, shut up.
Yeah.
You go nasty ass cold brew.
I love cold brew.
Yeah, but you said that's probably the best one you've had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it puts Starbucks to shame.
I mean, come on. You've got a guy who actually cares about everything from sourcing to proper ways to brew and get the proper extracts out, and you're talking about a conglomerate super coffee shop.
Does nothing.
Yeah. Most overly processed. I assume. I don't drink coffee. My wife drinks it. Loves her some Starbucks. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's it all tastes the same. I've tried so many different ones. I'm just like, it's bitter bean water. Again.
Wow. And, coming from the person who's drinking the pinto bean tea, I would think that'd be the perfect description for that tea.
Let me ask you this. If you boiled coffee beans, would you eat those?
Absolutely not.
Because I'll eat pinto beans.
Who would eat boiled coffee beans?
Exactly. I'll eat pinto beans. So I don't mind the flavor of pinto beans, obviously, because I'll eat them as a side. Would you eat, beans? But you'll eat you'll drink the bean water. You love the bean water. You don't like the beans.
Coffee beans were not meant to be boiled.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the argument here?
There's a lot of argument there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Tea's dope.
Tea is dope.
Yeah. Coffee sucks. You gonna go back to the bar and get another drink?
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
I gotta have the other featured one. I'm sure there's I think you had it, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
The Haunt Teeny.
Ooh.
It was really delicious. It wasn't quite chocolate milk because it's the exact opposite, probably. Actually, they both were vodka. But obviously it was chocolate vodka versus regular vodka. I don't even know what vodka she used. I wasn't paying that much attention.
It was chocolate vodka. It was like
no. The chocolate drink was chocolate vodka. I'm saying the other vodka, I don't know what she used.
Gotcha.
But they were both really, really good. Oh, we got Credence playing in the background now. They've went full circle.
Someone tell our friend. We're back in it.
So, hey, people listening, all half of you, like a half of one person, you need to tell Swish here he needs to pay $300 for a Millennium Falcon painting.
Wow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You gonna do it?
I don't think I have it in me.
I'm just saying, there's a certain someone who probably won't agree with your purchase.
Is it you?
No, I'm all for it. You should do it.
Yeah.
But if someone else was out there who might be in disagreement with you because she thinks you probably shouldn't spend $300 on a random drawing.
Yeah,
I say random, but it is a feature of artist, and it looks really great, and it's a one of a kind. So
it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't want. It's definitely not a bash on him. It looks beautiful.
I just wish there was a smaller one.
Yeah.
If I haven't asked yet.
If you can throw it on discount, that'd be probably great. It's on clearance.
Yeah.
But no, if you got the money, that's a pretty awesome thing. Like the other one, the canvas one you were showing was pretty cool too. But that's not him. That's someone else.
Yeah.
They printed a Jay and Silent Bob on a canvas.
That one is really cool. Them standing in front of the Quick Stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this venue, like I said, I've been to this venue many times for other events and stuff, and this place is really dope. Oh god, 20 minutes. Ooh, there's a gallery. You hear that?
What is that? A gallery of what?
No idea. I didn't get any kind of sheet. It told me what was going on.
Okay.
But
it
Garrett,
sounds exciting.
Garrett, the DJ and roast master and whatever else he is here.
Yeah.
He at least has a rough outline, so he knows what's going on. That's pretty dope.
Yeah. Now, we'll get the schedule tomorrow.
Yeah. They're doing raffles as well. They're doing raffles. You got a lot of really cool celebrities from a lot of your favorite shows in the paranormal realm and Walking Dead. So there's a few guys from the Walking Dead that are here. It's pretty cool.
Definitely come down, check it out. We're having a blast here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good music. We're all trying to just ignore the impending storms as much as we can. You might have heard it when we popped back on. Me and Swish were talking about just some nervousness when it comes to that storm.
Yeah. Just sitting in the red over here.
Yep.
Yep.
And not for us. Like, sweep me away. Take me to Oz. That'd be great. I rule that place, son.
No, I
rule that place.
Do not want to go there.
I'm going to Oz.
Yeah, I don't want to meet the Tin Man.
Get the fuck out of here. Good meme.
Yeah.
Better porn. Papa John's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a pretty bad storm coming. Hearts go out to everyone that's struggling with that have already hit it or have been hit by it. So I heard you said that Mississippi's already had some pretty bad things happen.
Yeah.
So far, so
they've been hit pretty hard already, and from what we heard, it's only going to get worse. So yeah.
But we got a 3:00 podcast coming up with a couple of mediums and sensitives and all that. That should be really, really awesome.
Should be.
I'm really excited.
Great conversation. We're very excited.
So that's coming up shortly.
Yeah.
Actually, 15 minutes.
Yeah, we got 15 minutes.
So it's time for any kind of bathroom break you need, sir.
Might not be a bad idea.
Bathroom break, alcohol break, those kind of things.
I'm thinking alcohol break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably the best bet.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I want alcohol break, but I kind of want an energy drink break too. But I don't want an energy drink, but I do want one. It's a weird. I'm in a weird area right now, so I don't really know. I do not want cold brew. You know this, unless the cold brew is tea. You can give me some cold brew tea.
You can tell yourself it's tea, just like when you tell yourself that Pinto tea is good. It's
good.
all mindset.
It's so good.
Do whatever you want.
I'll bring you some the next time I have.
Don't you dare.
How about Tuesday? You on site Tuesday?
Oh, you know, walking to the bathroom. I'll watch. You can watch me pour that thing down the drain.
Now, dude, you're gonna try it. At least try it.
No.
Just try it.
No.
Just try it.
No.
You'll drink the.
There's nothing about pinto beans I actually enjoy.
You will drink this bitter ass bean water.
It's nothing bitter about it. You put a lot of hard work into this coffee.
No. I said out of all the coffees, he did amazing.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know. I didn't drink it. I have no idea what it tastes like.
That's on you.
It tastes like golden nectar of the gods, for all I know.
Yeah, for coffee lovers, yes.
Yes. And there's a lot of coffee lovers. No bashing. No, you drink all the coffee you want. Don't push it on me, homie.
You can have
Don't
all
be
the
a
hot
pusher.
sauce you want. I'm
Don't
not going near that.
Yeah, the hot sauce was great. Hopefully you caught yesterday's hot sauce experience. We gave it 4 feathers. It was great.
You didn't. You can go back, rewatch whole days on YouTube and Facebook.
Yes.
Yep.
We'll be splitting them up eventually. But the hot sauce is awesome. I actually bought 2 bottles of the same hot sauce I tried on the show, and then I bought another one for an acquaintance of mine.
Yes, an acquaintance.
An acquaintance.
And a work acquaintance.
A work. No, I got something for a friend of mine. Hopefully he'll like it.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the lemon pepper hot, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
My preference is not letting the lemon take over the rest of the sauce, and I just feel like lemon pepper always takes over the rest of the sauce. I like lemon pepper chicken.
Lemon pepper chicken is amazing.
Yeah.
I can get with you on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't do it so much now, but I used to when we used to cook like burgers and stuff. We'd put lemon pepper on the burgers.
Okay.
Gives a little zing to it. It's really good.
Yeah.
But not so much now. Actually, I don't even know if I have a bottle of lemon pepper in my cabinet.
Yeah.
I should check in on that. I'll get that. Yeah. Mental note. I need to put it on a shopping list.
There you go.
If you didn't catch the podcast right before, we had a really good discussion with Joe from the university, Georgia Southwestern University. Is that how it's word?
Yes.
University of the Front or the end. But yeah, great discussion. Interesting to hear their perspectives of someone who's passionate about paranormal, but is looking at it from another side or from another lens.
Definitely bringing the science into it. Yeah.
That different perspective is huge. We had lots of great discussions on just, where, being a believer or like, where you fall in that spectrum right there of like hardcore, never, everything is true, blah, 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 through cynicism and like in between. So you're skeptics and you're believers on something, all that whole entire range.
Yeah.
And where that fine line is, where you want to try to hit. That was a really good talk.
Yeah.
And we got crashed into by a love train. So that was
a good.
I wasn't expecting to be a part of a train today, but
no one ever expects to be hit by the love train.
Yeah.
It happens when you least expect it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was never expected to be in a train at the conference in the middle of the day, but you live and you learn, and it's crazy. Like, I didn't think I was going to be the conductor. The way they kind of smashed into me, it seems like it kind of became that, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you weren't able to catch a good camera feed of the awesome dance that was happening.
Yeah.
So, wait. Oh, hey. Photo opportunity. Sorry. We got to grace them with our beauty. Right.
Yeah. Hopefully the camera doesn't explode.
Yes.
But we got 10 minutes to the next one. Should we take a 5 minute?
Let's go and take a little break and then get ready for this this next group. They're going to be really awesome. We're actually they're going to sit down. One person will sit down and talk, and then they're going to tag out. So it'll be 2 podcasts for the price of 1, and that price is free.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we'll see you all in a little bit. run out of stuff to talk about, we'll fire some additional questions.
And
And
we're
hey,
back.
we're back online. Back to Talk Haunted to me. So yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, everybody. My name is Martha Lawrenson, also known as Martha Fokker. I am from southern Mississippi, down in the Ocean Springs, Biloxi area.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us kind of how you started in the paranormal. Like what got you started? What was it an early experience or whatnot?
Yes, definitely early experiences. I think my first experience with it was when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Not sure what the age was. I remember being like really short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just remember being little and short. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The house that I grew up in literally is the house next door to me now, which is crazy. But anyway,
Wow.
that's a whole different story. But anyway, I would go to sleep at nighttime, but then I would wake up and my room was literally across the hall from my parents' room. And we didn't have a whole lot of money. You know, we're very, middle class, didn't have all, we had work, Kmart cutoffs and the whole 9 yards. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we didn't have a lot of money. And what I would do is when I would go to sleep or whatever at nighttime, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, of course, like other kids do. And I'd be like looking at the hallway and I could see this black figure in the hallway and it would pace back and forth down multiple times,
Mhm.
And so I'm this little kid and I'm like, okay, I got to make it to my mom and dad's room. I don't know how to get there or whatever, I'm going to do this. So it would turn around and this happened night after night after night for years. This went on for like a long time. It wasn't like it was just one experience. It was like all the time. So
Right.
It would go back down the hallway and I'd jump up and I'd run to my mom and dad's bed. And the reason why I mentioned not, having a lot of money or anything was they had 2 twin beds that were pushed together and that's what they slept on. So I would like wedge my little body up inside that, up right in between them, and I'd wedge down in between the beds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, every night I did this, I'd fall asleep. My dad would pick me up and I'd always wake back up in my bed.
Right.
One particular evening, and this is the last time that I remember it ever happening, the figure came down the hallway and then it went the other direction and I jumped up, right? And I ran to my mom and dad's bed and nuzzled myself in there like this, and I'm like, I'm safe now. I'm between my parents. Nothing can get me. You know how safe you feel.
Oh yeah.
Feet are covered up. No monsters can get
Of
your
course,
feet if you're
yes.
covered up. And I knew this, right? I'm a Goonie, so it is what it is. So it walks in. It literally this time it came into the bedroom, like it was following me in. It followed me in, and it stood at the end of the bed. And it had no face. It was just shaped like a person, but it had no face or anything like that. So there were no features. And it reached down and it touched my toes. And I felt static electricity.
Oh,
and then
wow.
I literally fell asleep. And of course, the next day I wake back up in my bed because my dad always moved me because they got sick of my shit,
Right.
Basically. But that's the last time that I remember that happening.
So for the entity or whatever, would you classify that as like a shadow person, like dark, like just like almost like pitch black, or would you say we're just
it was
shadow?
solid black, couldn't see through it. I mean, it was, and of course we're in a pitch dark house, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't pitch dark. I mean, it's not like it was the inside of a ship or anything. I mean, you could see shadows and stuff like that, but this was very, very like I could see the shape of it.
Yeah.
But there were no features or anything like that. It was like, how people put those bodysuits on or whatever nowadays with the different colors, whether they cover their face, just like that. Only it was like all just a big black shadow.
Yeah. So instead of like shadows are like usually kind of have like see through or whatnot, but like the shadow person being just like void of light or void of anything,
right?
Kind of scenario.
And like high inside, I look back on it, I'm thinking, well, was he walking up and down the hallway, he or she, whatever it was? Was it being protective? You know what I mean? Or like, because I remember being afraid of it because it was, this foreign thing in my house, but I don't remember being threatened by it.
Oh, okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then later in my years, when I was 9 years old, I started having dreams that would come true. And that was kind of bizarre to me also. And I remember the first one that I remember, my grandmother had gone into the hospital. She had heart issues or whatever. And I was 9 years old. This is 1984. November 30th. It was actually November 29th. Like I remember it so vividly. We went to the hospital, went to see her. She seemed to be fine. I gave her a card and my mom said, write a poem on the card or whatever. So I did the whole, remember the tree, remember the trunk, remember the night we all got drunk. My grandmother, she was very proper. So she was just like, Martha, I can't believe you put this on here. And I was like, well, it's the only one I knew, So I remember giving her that. Next day we went home. Well, that night, whatever, we went home and went to sleep like normal or whatever. And I had a dream that she was walking out of a church, and I was walking up the stairs of the church, and it looked like she was coming down, like it had like an old pipe railing. You know how some of the older churches have that or whatever.
Yeah.
And the church that we had that I grew up in was an Episcopalian church in Biloxi, Mississippi, called the Church of Redeemer.
Right.
Well, there was another church in our area that was a Catholic church, and I remembered the pipe railing at the Catholic church. So I kind of wondered. I was like, why is she coming out of the Catholic church when we go to an Episcopal church? And I remember she was wearing baby blue powdered suit, ruffly, shirt, gold cross, red gem in the middle of the cross. I mean, like, I remember detail. She came down the stairs and she said goodbye to me. And I was like, okay, well, bye. I was a kid, 9, whatever. I woke up the next morning and I told my mom she was like, no, honey, she's fine. She's, we just saw her last night. She's in the hospital. Minutes later, we got the phone call that she had passed away.
Wow.
I always kind of wondered, what is the deal with the pipe railing in the church and stuff? Like, it just wasn't matching up in my mind. I don't know if you guys know anything about Mississippi or South Mississippi and the hurricanes down there, but Hurricane Camille came through in 1965, 10 years before I was born. I have no recollection. I don't know about anything prior to that point. You know what I mean? I didn't experience it, so it was nothing I ever looked up, certainly not at 9 years old, right? So years and years later, as an adult, I had already moved away with my ex-husband who was in the military. We moved away or whatever, and I had come back. And I went to a wedding or something at the old Episcopal church that we were at. And it had a big bell tower in the front, and the church was separated from the bell tower. And prior to Camille, the church was attached to the bell tower, right? Well, after Camille came through, it knocked the church down. The bell tower was still there. So when they built the church, it just built it back a little way. So there was a separation between the two, like a little street, a little circle or whatever, you know what I mean? I didn't know what it looked like before Camille. Honestly, I can't even remember if I even knew that they were separate.
Right.
Or knew that they were together at one time. You know what I mean? So anyway, I go to this baby shower or wedding or whatever. I can't remember what it was exactly. And I was walking down the hallway and I was looking at pictures that they had hung up of the old church, prior to Camille. And I get to looking at it, and I'll be damned if what she was walking out of in my dream was the bell tower. And that was the front door to the church. During Camille, she was coming down and holding the pipe railing. And it just didn't dawn on me, because the pipe railing was still there, but the church was just, you know what I mean? So it was like stuff like that. And then that just sort of triggered just literally a landslide of dreams and experiences and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've always been personally interested in like the whole deja vu kind of thing. Because I'm like, okay, I slightly remember a dream of this exact happening, and then it happens right now. What does that mean?
Right.
But then I get kind of mixed into like, is it, am I now thinking about a dream that didn't happen and just associating it with it? But no, like some of the dreams I have are way too vivid to really just put that to bed and say, oh no, that's just, and they're oddly specific. Like, it's not like, oh, I had a dream about a puppy, and then 10 days later there's a puppy. Like, it's not that like vague. It's like, hey, this exact moment I had this for breakfast and went in and someone told me this, and then you do the exact same thing. I was like, holy crap, I remember that now. Like, it's
always something subtle, not necessarily something like specific.
Right. Instead of just the puppy, it would be the puppy with the stripes and the blue eye with the freckle. You know what I mean? It's very like specific things. And like deja vu, of course, certainly happens. But it's very quick things that happen. Like, you might be just like walking up a street and see a tree, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I feel like I've been here before. But these dreams were so much more than that. They were very detailed. They were very long dreams. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't just something that like just pops in and pops out, you know. But deja vu all by itself is actually really intriguing as well. So, I mean,
and then it gets in that in between where you don't know if like, is it deja vu or is it something else? So like I've had things that were way too detailed and way too not random, but way too not a common thing that someone would just break a conversation. This is what we talked about. Like, it's so specific to an instance that would not just like happen.
Right.
That you're like, okay, well, maybe there's a little more than just deja vu.
Right.
Or you can go back to the Matrix and say the lady in the red dress or whatever that they kept passing through, and you see multiple times. Like, that's very deja vu-esque, I guess.
Right. I mean, those are the things that kind of got me interested in the paranormal to begin with. And like, I knew from the get that there was something more to it. But growing up in South Mississippi, being, raised in church and everything, it was like one of those things you might talk about it. It might be like a funny ha thing, but here's one thing that I've always noticed too, that, everybody says, well, not everybody, but the people down there at that time were like, I would say, well, this would happen. Or I talk about, well, we don't believe in ghosts and blah, blah, blah. But this one time, they always say, but this one time, you know what I mean? But they can't explain it. But then, and they think it might be paranormal, but they don't want to admit that it's paranormal. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's kind of what sparked my whole interest in it and stuff like that. And then, even in my early adulthood, like when I would mention it to my mom, she felt very uncomfortable. I was noticing differences in religion, differences in how people thought. And by moving around, my ex-husband and my current husband were both military. So I've moved around quite a bit with them. And so, learning about different people and different cultures and different places and different religions and all these different things, I had all this other input, you know what I mean? Really sparked my curiosity. But even when I would speak to my mom about some of that stuff, sometimes she would get like highly offended. Like, I can't believe that you would think, one of the things was, my father was he was a Mason. He was part of the Masonic Lodge. And so were all of my uncles and some of my brothers and stuff. So that was always a big thing. So the females in my family, not including myself, but the females in my family were all a part of Eastern Star. And so, the Eastern Star is a star, even with the different colors inside it's essentially what I was identifying as a pentagram, And so I said that to my mom one time, and you want to talk about the pissed offness, man. She was like, that's not true, and you better blah, blah, blah. And so it was just a hard no. So I knew there was no way that I could really kind of bring it to them at that time. And we didn't have the internet like we have now. Yeah. Like, I mean, I remember when the internet started, it started out with CompuServe, and we were just like, oh my God, we're talking to somebody from Europe. Oh, you know what I mean? We just thought oh my God, it was an amazing experience. Right. But so for a long time, I didn't really even like talk to anybody about it, and I would have dreams of friends that passed away, or, I'd be like, one in particular, like I can think of is, a friend of mine passed away. I was 20 years old. I was pregnant with my first child, right? And we were living in Virginia, and I was sleeping on a bed. Well, pregnant people do. Yeah. Anyway, so I was in the bed, and I was like, I don't really feel good. Got up, went to the bathroom, came back, in the room, and I was very pregnant. I wasn't just a little bit pregnant. Like, my kids came out practically teenagers. I swear to God, I stayed freaking pregnant forever. But anyway. So I go to the bathroom, I come lay back down in the bed, we had a water bed. We were really bougie. We had a water bed,
That's high class.
Wick milk in the fridge, man. we were, we were doing it up. But anyway, so I'm laying in the water bed or whatever, and I get back in and I'm snuggling up, and then I open my eyes, and I literally saw my friend standing at the foot of my bed, and she was smiling at me. It was at that moment my water broke and I went into labor. And it was wild. I was like, what are the freaking odds of that? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, she was standing at the end of my bed, and she was not see-through. She was there.
Yeah.
And she kind of had a fuzzy hue, but she wasn't like, not ghostly, if that makes any sense or whatever. You know what I mean? So that happened. I mean, there's just been, I could sit here all day long and tell you stories that have gone on. But long story short, I had it on my bucket list. Like I was like, I really want to do some paranormal investigations one day, because I'd watched Paranormal State quite a lot. Being a military wife, I was at home, I was taking care of the kids. And I did work some, but a lot of it, there was really nothing else I was really interested in. Basically, I was like, this is on my bucket list. This is what I want to do. So we moved back to Mississippi to take care of my parents because they're elderly. And I joined a paranormal team down here or whatever. And it just kind of grew from there. Currently, I am with, we're kind of a group, sort of, but not really. Like, we, I don't know if you probably know a lot about paranormal groups and stuff like that. And the bigger they are, the more drama you have and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really do the drama. Like, I just want to ghost hunt, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, legit, I just want to ghost hunt, go over the evidence, present it to whoever the client is or whatever, whoever they might be, and then move on and let's go somewhere else. Let's I was never really in it to like make a bunch of money or anything like that. Like, I just wanted to ghost hunt. It's very interesting to me, and I like debunking stuff. That's really cool. I love to do that kind of stuff. So myself and a couple of other girls that were in the groups that I was in previously, I kind of just look at it kind of like as we're just a couple of paranormal enthusiasts who occasionally like to ghost hunt and shit, basically, and that's what we do, and that's where I'm currently at with
Okay.
the paranormal stuff.
I was gonna go back to you had mentioned like just like the negative stigma of like ghosts and stuff in the South, because we run into that even to this day. Like anything below the Bible Belt is just is like hit or miss. Like either someone's like really into it, like someone who owns like a house that's haunted, or they own an establishment like, yeah, man, this place is haunted. And then other people will like, you do not talk about it or nothing. And like Savannah is a prime example of like both. So Savannah as a whole are very proud of their ghosts, their history, and everything about it. But there's a couple of different places down there that are staunchly you cannot talk about it, and the only way you really know about it is from either other people's personal experiences, or some people will sign the guest book and list like stuff that happened to them. But you can't like call them and say, hey, I want to stay here because of the ghost or anything like that. But then you get above the Bible Belt and like seeing like Ohio and Pennsylvania, and they're just like, oh, please come see our ghost. Like it's like, please. So it's very interesting that you experience that too. I know a lot of other people that experience the same thing, where there's just that whole like, we don't talk about that, or every ghost is a demon. I hear that a lot too.
That a lot, actually. Can you please come to my house because there's a demon in our house, and it's okay. They don't know any better, and to them, I mean, especially where we're from, that's what we've been told our whole life. Don't contact the dead. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. And I try to explain to them, actually, I'm not trying to contact the dead. I'm trying to see scientifically if what they're experiencing is paranormal or is it just something that's going on in their home. You know what I mean? And so I kind of like, that's how I tried to explain it to them. And just because it's in their home, if it is paranormal, doesn't necessarily mean it's demonic. It's just scary to them. So they feel like, you know what I mean? Because it's our entire lives we've been told that, this is the devil and these are the demons and you know what I'm saying? So we get that stuck in our head. And even now, sometimes I still kind of question like, well, maybe, nope, that's not it. You know what I mean? I have to like talk myself out of it,
It's a lot about information gathering to provide it. Like you need to understand what's happening at your house, and then you can decide what you want to do next.
Right.
You need a cleansing through your religion or through something else. Unfortunately, you might even want to leave or something if you just can't deal with that. But it's better to at least know instead of just ignoring it, because then sometimes that makes it worse. Like sometimes,
absolutely.
like, especially if somebody's trying to get your attention, if you keep ignoring it, it's just going to do more and more things escalate to get your attention. So,
right.
I never understood the thing of just trying to necessarily ignore it. Now,
yeah,
my house, we don't really ignore it, but we also I don't investigate my house. We just live side by side. So
I've investigated my house quite a bit, just for fun mostly, you know what I mean? And the first time we ever investigated my home, my father had passed away in the home like 2 years earlier or whatever, and it was pretty creepy, and I was creeped out, you know what I mean? Like I remember waking up and I'd taken the K2 to bed with me. I don't know why I did that. Like I knew better. I knew better than that. But we had just investigated the night before. And I had gone to sleep. And when you're a kid, or even now, like, you're laying in the bed, you got your blankets over the top of your toes, right? And you have an animal in the bed. I don't know if you sleep with your dogs, but our dogs sleep in the bed. So they crawl across. You can feel the blanket being pushed down in between your feet. You know what I mean? And so I felt that sensation, and I was like, the dog is always in my way. I can never stretch out my legs because she's always taking up too much space, blah, blah, blah. I look down and the dog's not by my feet. He is soundly sleeping by my husband's feet. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, maybe it was just my imagination. I didn't really feel that, whatever, So I'm a little creeped out at this point because we just did our house and we got some evidence, and so I roll over and I'm laying and I've got my hands like this, on the bed, trying to fall asleep, but I put the K2 right here on my pillow, and we don't have a lot of computer equipment in our house. We did have Wi-Fi at the time, so that's a possibility, obviously. I didn't get a message during that time, so I'm trying to in my head debunk why this K2 would go off, right? Well, when I was a kid, my mom and dad used to rub my hair like this, when I was going to sleep, or they would do that to put me to sleep. And obviously I was having a hard time sleeping because I was freaked the fuck out, to be honest. And so I'm trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden I feel this on the side of my head, and I opened my eyes, and this little K2 was lit up all the way to the red. And I was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to get up. I got up, turned all the lights on the house, and I rode it out until the sun came up. I was like, I ain't going to sleep. That's it, man. Yeah. I'm not doing it, you know?
Mine says to, so our dogs, like 2 of them sleep in a crate, and then one, our biggest dog, he'll sleep like in like 30 different places. Like he's very weird and doesn't like sleeping in our room very often. If he does, he sleeps on the floor near the door. And I'll have something sit on the bed with me, like right behind me if I'm turned one way, or right at the foot of the bed. It'll just sit down, so you can feel like someone's sitting on their butt, pressing down the bed. I don't really have any other instances in that room except for we used to have a smoke detector that I had in that room. We've moved it because I couldn't take naps or anything because it would go off like constantly in the room. If I went in, I would walk through the threshold and it would fire off, but it would never do it to anybody else. My wife didn't believe me until one day she said, all right, we're going to test this. She went in there, sat on the bed. So, all right, come in. And as soon as I crossed the threshold, it's like, fire, hot, hot. And I was like, well, I appreciate that you find me attractive. It's a little weird. I am taken. Sorry.
You are seen.
Yes. But there's a tendency for this the ghost to like somebody to be poking around the side of the door, looking into our room, that my wife sees a lot. She actually went to get onto my son one night because she thought he had gotten up in the middle of the night to come check and see if we were awake. So she gets up all like mad, like I'm gonna get him. Goes into the room, goes in there, goes all the way to the back. He's on the other side of the house. His bedroom's on the other side of the house. Goes all the way in there. He is unconscious, just out in his bed, just passed out. She's like, what the crap? So then she comes back and lays down. And it happens occasionally where like, so just someone's just like poked in, seeing like what we're doing. Other than that, electronics go off, toys. I try to keep all the sound toys out of the house as much as I can because it'll go off usually around 2 or 3. Because I'll go sit on the couch. And sometimes if like middle of the night, if I can't sleep, I'll just sit on the couch, just sit there in the dark. Doesn't really bother me. And then like little toys, hey, play with us and all that kind of stuff.
Like not today.
Yeah. You'll feel things brush against your leg. You'll hear, I've heard a woman's voice multiple times in the house. So it's pretty interesting, but I don't prod at it. We go investigate a lot, but I keep saying, he's like, let's just investigate your house. I'm like, no. My wife's like, you will not.
She's once a week.
Yeah, she nicknames her Karen. Like she's offered me, like the lights will flicker in the house. She's like, hey, if you stop flickering the light, you can have him. Like she did that to me one time. Like, you just have him. I'm tired of this. And the lights stopped flickering. He just stayed calm. I'm like, thanks, Ashley, just pimping me out now. She said, well, I'm trying to do my hair. Like, I can't do this. So we have like a joking thing with her. She hasn't done anything too bad. She has ripped off a deer head once.
Wow.
Dropped it on the ground. That's the only bad thing we've ever encountered with her. Everything else has been, you hear doors shut occasionally and all that kind of stuff down the hall. I used to work from home. I don't like working from home, not because of that, just I like to interact with people. So yeah, I worked from home and it would all the time, and I started ignoring it. Like it's just a thing.
Right.
Well, then I went back to work and my wife worked from home a couple of days. And she's like, how do you do this? I'm like, how do what? She's like, the doors keep shutting and like I keep hearing people. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's become so normal I don't even pay attention to it anymore. And so she doesn't work from home anymore. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like it the same reason I don't like it, but also she doesn't like dealing with that by herself.
Yeah.
But so you do investigations, you said. Any particular ones you can really talk about, like a particular instance that was just such a strong from an evidence standpoint or just from a personal experience standpoint, it's like, wow, that's the only, like, I know you said some things that were pretty strong, but just like, what's the biggest thing that just sticks in your head is like,
well, I think, like 90% of the investigations that I've been on have been, quite frankly, a lot of times they're kind of boring and anticlimactic, you know? And then when you're starting to go over the evidence, a lot of that is kind of a bore also. And then when you get that one piece that you're like, oh my God, this is so freaking awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Or then you debunk that and you're like, oh,
you're like, crap. You know
I'm excited I debunked it, but man, I wish that was real.
Yeah. Or, you find a piece of evidence and then you present it to someone, not even a client, but to like another paranormal investigator. And they're like, no, that's not it. Or no, that's not what that is. And but they can't explain to you why it isn't.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you're just like, oh, well, maybe it's not. You start kind of questioning yourself. You still can't figure out the answer and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But so most of them have been that way, honestly. I've never had anything. Well, actually, down in Biloxi, there is a home there that's called Beauvoir, and it's the former home of Jefferson Davis. I don't know a ton of the history around it and everything. Like, man, I know some or whatever. He was part of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
And
President, right?
Yeah, and all of that, right? Well, this was one of the places he stayed, and then he ended up acquiring the home from the owner after she passed, or something that's something like that. And so there's a cemetery on site. It's like a really big, beautiful plantation home. The land is massive. They've got camel. Well, they used to have camels on the. Well, they had a camel, sorry, and a bunch of goat, because everything that they do is by donation and stuff like that, right? So they got a bunch of goats to help cut the grass, so that they didn't have to hire somebody for that, whatever, blah blah blah, right? Well, we used to do paranormal investigations out there pretty often, and we did get some evidence of a child. We were out in like the garden part, and we got evidence of a child singing a song, and it was very whimsical and everything, and it was on a recorder.
Right.
So it wasn't. We didn't even, at the time, I didn't even have what we call as a spirit comm, very similar to the Geoport.
Yeah.
So we didn't even have that at the time. So it was like actually just on a recorder, which is awesome. But we were out there one night, and we were walking through the cemetery, and we actually had a newscaster at that time following us. He's got the big camera and everything, and it was just kind of like, he was. And I asked him before we went, do you believe in ghosts? And he was like, yeah, maybe not. He kind of wanted to say he did, but I don't think he wanted to admit that he did, if that makes any sense. So I was just like, okay, I won't pick on him too much or whatever, So we get out there, and we're doing the investigations, and we're walking, and I said, oh, he had his camera on me. I said, so if anybody's here with me, can you please touch the cameraman or whatever? And this guy, and it was just so funny, his reaction. All of a sudden you see, because, it's a big light in your face. So I couldn't really see him. All I saw was this big light, you know what I mean? And so you see the camera kind of lower, and he has this look of fear. This major look of fear on his face. And he was like, no. So I felt really bad about that. But that same night, as we're walking through, it's like a smaller cemetery there. We're walking through the cemetery, and I can't remember what I was saying or talking about. I think we were just moving from location to location. And I felt someone literally tug the back of my ear, and then tug the back of my jacket. And then I felt something tickle in my face, and I'm thinking, so of course I jump, I'm like, what the hell was that? You know what I'm saying? And so the first thing in my head was, I got to be under a tree. Maybe it's a spider. Maybe it's something that came out of the tree. And then I stopped, and I'm looking, and I'm literally in a clearing. There was nothing there. And I know what I felt. You know what I mean? I know what I felt. So, there was that instance. Trying to think paranormal wise, you know what I mean? That was one of the things that kind of stuck out to me. Like, I'll never forget that. Of course, and I said there was camels and stuff there too. Well, we were walking through the cemetery, and all the animals were sitting on the ground, and I didn't know they had a camel at the time. And I also didn't know that camels could chase you. So I'm like, wow, look at all of them. And I thought it was a horse. So I'm kind of approaching it, and I'm seeing the goats. I'm not threatened by goats, whatever. And so I'm walking, and I see this thing, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's standing up, and it stood up, and it turned around, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And it turned around, and it started coming, like chasing after us or whatever, you know what I mean? And I said, man, there is not many people who can say they have been chased through a graveyard by a camel.
No,
yeah.
I doubt you can
across
find
the
many,
street from a beach. You know what I mean? Like, what? I don't know. That one always sticks out to me because of just the whole night was just a fun experience. You know what I mean? And we did have some paranormal stuff happen,
That is crazy.
And then previous to this, after I acquired the or built the spirit comm, which is, like I said, kind of like the Geoport. I took a karaoke speaker and a SB7, and I put them together, and then I added the noise gate and a reverb pedal to it or whatever, and it works great. Now we get stuff all the time, and there are, most of the time you'll go through this, and I'll listen, of course, with the headphones and everything like that, and we just get so much, and it's not even voices that are coming through the radio itself, as you probably know. It's on top of those radio waves. And as fast as the SB7 is like running through and spinning, there's just to get one word is kind of wild, but to get an entire sentence or even hear a conversation or to have an intelligent conversation with something that's not there is extremely like, man, I got so excited the first time I used it, and I must have gotten like 30 EVPs like within like 30 minutes. I mean, it was just like, it was a lot, and it took me like almost 3 weeks to go through it because it was like every few seconds I was catching one. I'd have to rewind it, listen to it, record it, sometimes slow it down to be able to tell what it was saying and that kind of stuff. And I was blown away, like completely blown away, you know? And so, I mean, I primarily use that now because everything else, it seems like everything but my Mel meter, which seems to never go off, by the way.
Right.
Everything else is just so affected by Wi-Fi and the telephones and just everything, and even cell towers and just wherever you're at. It's just really hard to like, it's exciting if you're with a client and they're with you, you know what I'm saying? And then you have to debunk it in front of them, but it's exciting to them. And it can be exciting to me too, if we're like literally somewhere where there's nothing. For example, recently we were in McGee, Mississippi, and we were at a little church called it's called the Boykin Church. It's basically this wooden hut. There's no bathroom, no electricity, nothing. There's a literal outhouse outside. This is way up in the sticks, y'all. Way up in the sticks. I mean, like all wooded area. There was nothing. I mean, there was no. I had to bring a power box just to power up anything that we needed, just in case, you know, we needed it or whatever. Our cell phones didn't work out there. I mean, nothing worked, right? So we get out there, and we're starting to do the investigation, and we actually did the Estes method. It was the first time it's the first and only time I've ever done the Estes method or whatever. But while I was sitting in the chair, I out there we didn't have any electricity, so I couldn't like plug a lot of cameras in on me or anything like that. Would have drained everything very quickly. So I had my iPad wedged in to the brackets on the wall or whatever. It wasn't going anyway. I'm thinking this thing is expensive. I don't want to drop it or break it. Certainly not out here. You know what I mean? So I wedged it up real good, and it was kind of recording me or whatever. And we're doing the Estes method and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. After I got home and started looking at evidence, and I started just watching the iPad, watching the recording, and then I'm talking in the Estes method, and I'm literally giving them answers to questions that they're asking. And the iPad literally, it went from like this to this. It moved, and it was, when I say it was wedged up, it was wedged up. I'm like, there was no way, unless you like physically took it and just turned it.
Yeah.
The wind didn't do it. You know, nobody was near me to do it. I mean, I didn't accidentally bump the wall. I mean, I couldn't explain why it would have moved like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it happened during the time that I was giving it responses to the questions that they were asking too. And even out there,
you thought you needed to frame it a little better.
Right.
They didn't like how you didn't get its good side.
Yeah, it was just like, look, man, you're just not catching everything the way you need to catch it, you know? And so that was wild. And then also, my brother passed away this time last year, actually. And so when we're out there, sometimes he will come through the spirit comm, or allegedly that's him. I don't know for sure, obviously, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you kind of joke or whatever, like, it's so funny, Russell, blah, you know what I mean? But we were out there, and then one of my friends, she said, you know, hey, if you're really with us out here, you know what I mean? Like, what are the odds? Probably, right? But if you're out here, we need you to light up all of our stuff all at one time. So we had cat balls everywhere, you know, and then we had a couple of REM pods out. We had the music box out, you know, and it's not a massive church, but it's pretty decent size. There's probably 20 pews in it, you know what I mean? And then it has a little stage up front or whatever. And so we had them everywhere. And when I tell you, literally every single thing that we had lit up, every single thing lit up, all at the same time. And I was like, oh, that's actually really neat. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know, like aside from like personal experiences and like dreams and stuff like that, or like seeing stuff in the house and all, which I still see from time to time in our house or whatever. I mean, like paranormal investigation wise, like catching something or, you know, other than being touched or personal experiences, I've had a hard time finding like evidence like that, except for the spirit comm and then at the church that night. You know what I mean?
And you said you did catch a kid singing though, right?
Yeah, and that was on a recorder. Yeah. That was at Beauvoir. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a place we investigated in Tennessee that, when talking to that historian, she's like, yeah, well, my boyfriend, he has an investigation group, and I was like, oh, cool, they catch anything? She's like, yeah, you need to watch this video. So she sends me a link to the YouTube video of what he caught, and they were in the emergency room. It's a hospital, and there's this little girl singing a song. I mean, clear as day, she's singing a song.
Oh wow.
But there was no kids in the group or anything. It was just a couple of guys in there, and it's a little girl singing, and you can't quite make out the words, but you can. It's perfect. Her singing, like
whimsical.
that kind of. Oh yeah, and it's almost like a lullaby kind of
Mhm.
song. It's probably one of the best. I mean, if it's true, like I wasn't there, so that's where the skeptic part comes to me. It's like, well, you know, it could. I'm just taking you at your word that there was no one there, but I wasn't there to verify that. But it's a very clear Class A type EVP at that point. And they said they did not hear it while they were there.
Wow.
Just when they were listening back. And at that same place, when we did one in a different room, we caught an older lady humming after we left. So we left the EVP running on a digital recorder and left, walked out, went down the hall, turned, went down a flight of stairs, went down to the other nurse's station where all our equipment was while we were gone. And we even, after that, we went to another section to look around. After we were gone, you start hearing her humming, singing. And we had already shut the door to the room. You don't hear the door open back up. Nothing's going on. And you start hearing someone singing. And then quite a while later, you hear us come back up, open the door, come in, grab our stuff, and leave.
Wow.
So that's
you heard it audibly with your ears, or you caught it on the recording?
Caught it on the recording.
Wow.
And this place has no power. Like the only power is run to one room in the whole entire place. That's for the people who have the hospital to be able to be on premises while you're there.
Right.
But it's also on the other end of the hospital. Like they have one room on the other end of the hospital that has power. We had to bring all our power blocks and banks and charge everything up ahead of time to get in there. So it was pretty interesting. But where they caught it was would have been on the same side of the hospital as us, but on the other side of that wing is where they caught the little girl singing. So
that's wild. At Beauvoir, we were kind of wondering at the time, like, why would a child be here? Like I didn't see anything in the history talking about that. But so once we started doing a little bit of research on Beauvoir, prior to the home being there, the entire land and the Coliseum that's next to it, of course, that was all one big piece of land or whatever. It was an orphanage at one time.
Oh, wow.
And we were just like, okay, well, that makes better sense.
A lot more sense.
Yeah. There was another piece of evidence that we got, same place, but it was in like their library area. And it was a Class A also. And it was before, like I said, before the Spirit Com or anything like that. And we were in the conference room talking, and there was a lot of like antique artifacts and stuff. Like they had tons of stuff there, you know, from the Civil War and all of that. So there's a ton of energy there. But in the EVP, we're talking, we're asking questions. So what is your name? What year is it? Who is the all of that kind of stuff. And you hear someone say in a male voice and in an accent, I will not answer your questions.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't catch it at first. And then once we went back through it and heard it, we were just like, holy shit. Like that was so profound to us. You know what I mean? And to me, because I was just, up until we started doing that place, I really didn't catch anything at all. You know what I mean? Like it's just so few and far between and so hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been disappointed quite a few times in locations, and you just can't get, obviously can't get discouraged. And I know we've had discussions with a lot of people here, just because something happens the one time you actually are investigating doesn't mean it's not haunted or not. There's nothing going on. It's just maybe the environment wasn't right that evening. Maybe the energy wasn't coursing through to allow the manifestation or whatever you believe on that aspect. So, but it's still discouraging to go to like places we thought were going to be great, like old jails. We've been to a couple of old jails now and just nothing.
Yeah. And you're just like, I know something's going to happen here.
Come on, this has got to be the place right here, right?
Yeah.
And just no.
Have you noticed that, or is it your experience that when there's a storm abroad or coming, or if the air is very thick, like right before it rains really heavy, or even while it's raining, that you get more paranormal activity than you would prior to, as if it was clear weather?
Actually, like our best investigation was clear. It was a clear skies. It was brutally cold.
It was like 12 degrees.
God,
it was clear.
Yeah.
I can't think of one that was storm wise that gave us better results.
And the library was a clear night.
Sewell Mill was clear. Yeah, there was a
those
bunch
all
of
clear
them.
nights.
And actually, yeah, I was in Savannah not too long ago. I did 2 hotels overnights. Just I picked the most haunted room in the whole entire hotel and I'd stay. And the night where it was raining was the night I didn't get anything. And then the night it was clear is when I did get something. So that's a little weird, but I could see where that would work. The charge in the environment or in the atmosphere could lend to that.
Like I
so that
wonder,
would make
like
a lot of
it's
sense.
so humid, like maybe it would be like a conducer of some
Yeah.
sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so something could actually like flow better, I guess. You know what I mean?
But we've never actually had any where we were actually at a storm, anyways. Like even the one time it was raining in Savannah where it wasn't like a bad storm, and then the other place we've been where it's been stormy, it was just light rain. Like I've never been in one with a really big storm, so I really couldn't tell you if it would.
The library, the old clothing mill was pretty bad. We had
Sewell Mill.
Yeah, Sewell Mill. I thought we had like a severe storm that night.
I don't remember it raining.
I remember the wind.
The wind was blowing. I don't think it rained or there was no. I don't remember any thunder or lightning or anything like that.
Right.
So we're going to ask a question that's completely off topic.
Okay.
But we've asked it to everyone.
I'll try not to lie.
Okay. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Yes.
Thank you.
100%.
It's starting to win now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some negative Nancy's earlier in the day, or yesterday, but it's been.
And I have to dip it in Catalina French dressing.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've always heard everyone loves ranch. Usually when I see pizza,
it's a Biloxi thing, I think,
Okay.
from where I'm from. I down there, I think this place called Hugo's Pizza started it.
Okay.
It's this place has been gone for a long time, but they started, putting Catalina French dressing on the table, and people started using it. And when I tell you, it's on fire. It's so good. It's so good.
All right.
That's wild.
I don't even like to eat pizza without it, to be honest. Like I like a little pizza with my French dressing.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Actually, 100%. Yes, do it if you haven't done it yet.
So, is there anywhere people can track your just investigations or what you're doing? Any social media or anything you're doing right now, or?
Well, kind of like I said, we're just some paranormal enthusiasts that get together occasionally and like to ghost hunt and have some fun.
Right.
We are called Misfits Paranormal. We just started a couple of weeks ago, so it's not something that's blown up, but you can find us on TikTok, and it's Misfits, MSFITZ Paranormal. My name is Martha Fokker, and you can find me at Martha Fokker the Ghost Hunter, and there's a girl named Ashley the Ghost Hunter and another lady named Janelle the Ghost Hunter, and we just sort of do our own thing and have a good time and don't have a lot of rules except to be respectful to the clients, and that's basically it.
And no drama.
No
Right,
drama. It's 100% no drama.
Yeah,
Zero.
I'm seeing quite a few play out right now on social media from the different groups I'm just a part of, as the pages that I'm following, and I'm like, come on, it's not it's not that big of a deal, guys. It's just
It's
enjoy it.
I think a lot of, and I'm not referring to anybody here or anything like that, but I think a lot of people, it's been my experience. Let's put it this way: it's been my experience that some people get into it specifically for the monetary value. And just for myself and the girls I'm with, it's just not like that for us. We just really want to ghost hunt, to be honest, and do some cool places and go some cool places and do this. You know what I mean?
I think the other thing is the community in general is, so they're very open. They wear their heart on their sleeves a lot. They're very emotional about that. And so when there is a disagreement, they take it harder as well. So I see a lot of that too. It's almost like, you aren't in a relationship, right? This is a group of people that were investigating. You're taking this way too personal. If you disagree on how you're doing it or whatnot, just go different
or talk about it. Just talk about it.
Fine.
It's not a big deal. And I've also noticed the bigger the group is, the more difficult it is to control. And all of that. It just, with just a few of us, it's kind of nice, honestly. And we communicate really well with one another, and we get investigations by just going places. And it's an undisclosed location, but we were just sitting in a little restaurant one day and wearing our t-shirts, and someone approached us, and it was somebody that was pretty respected in the community. And this person was like, hey, you want to come do our place or whatever? And we were like, hell yeah, we do. You know what I mean? And so we've been there multiple times now, and caught evidence for them. So it's been awesome. It's really been awesome. It's been a good experience.
Well, thanks for sitting down and talking with us. I think we got to
Thank you.
Tag you in, right? You ready? Are you ready?
Yeah. All right.
Well,
here she comes, you guys. Bye. Thank you.
Don't forget the headset.
Sorry, it became part of my body.
I understand.
They are comfortable.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Howdy.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, I'm Andrea Brightville, paranormal investigator and medium.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So we'll start with the same basic question: is
Sure.
how'd you get into this?
Um,
How'd you discover your talents, or anything you want to?
It discovered me, I guess. you
Oh,
would
there
say.
you go. There you go.
It's hard to put that into words when you actually start at the age of 5. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of mediums out there who are what we call the natural medium, and they start at a very young age.
Angle the
Yeah,
mic just a little
okay.
bit closer. There,
All right,
perfect,
there.
perfect.
Okay.
There you go.
And it was more of a fascination of how to manage it.
Mhm.
Because if you don't learn how to manage it, and you're a true medium or a psychic, it can get overwhelming. So I had to learn how to go to the classes and learn what centering and grounding and meditation and control of your aura and your energy field, and how to sense things and put up barriers in order to, I hate to use the word protect, but shield yourself from some of those energies, because it can get very overwhelming. I was getting to the point where I was walking into Walmart and I couldn't even handle walking into Walmart. I would faint.
Yeah.
So it had to be managed. So I had to learn how to do it. So the
You
other
say like part of it's like managing, honing, training,
yeah,
like just trying to
learning how to turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah.
It is like a light switch. Once you learn how to manage that connection, raising the vibrational energy in order to read, and then coming back down again, just enough to be able to shield it off.
Mhm.
It takes a long time. It took me about 4 years to learn how to do that. So, and I was blessed with a very gifted mentor who knew exactly how to get you to use it the way you preferred to. She didn't force you to use a specific method. She just gave you all the tools and you choose what you want. So she actually helped me understand that there's other people out there, and we need to pass on that to the new developing individuals coming up, because there's not too many places that we can go to be able to get resources and help and talk to somebody and get guided through. They just come to me. People come to me and say, "I got this. It's happening. What do I do with it?" And they get a little freaked out. And it's nothing to be freaked out about. It's completely natural.
Right.
It's not paranormal. It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that some people are more open to it and experiencing it and don't shut it down, or they're not told to shut it down when they're young. And it just goes from there. So it's a gift to be able to help others develop theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so do you go out on investigations? Do you?
I do.
To use your talent?
I actually prefer to go to investigations in order to expand that talent.
Yeah.
It actually opened up more for me because I was in that environment.
Mhm.
I tuned in ways that I never thought I could ever get. So if you're anyone that's out there with a sensitivity, empathic energies, or psychic, or even a psychometrist who reads spaces, and expose yourself a little bit more to those environments, and you'll learn how to control it a lot faster. You'll get really comfortable with your gift, and it's really organic when you put yourself into an environment that's active. You got to be very careful. Make sure that you also are not so open that you become vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah. So I jumped into the paranormal and investigating, found a team, and it was very kismet. Just happened. I bought my first little kit, the basic kit with a recorder and the K2 and all that. And then 2 weeks later, I met a person that was trying to set up a team. I'm like, come on, really? It just happens, you know? So I believe in fate and divine guidance, and you just go with the flow with life, and it will teach you.
Yeah, we
So,
talked a little bit with you yesterday. I think You had mentioned that you have a almost like a, I guess, a specialty or whatever with objects, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's both objects and spatial.
Yes.
Environmental vibrations.
Mhm.
The stone tape theory is one of the theories that all space can record
Yeah.
energies that happen in that space. So I had started doing readings for individuals. I hate to use the word readings because it's more of a spiritual discussion about past lives and past people, that their loved ones who have passed, and I'm helping them get through the tragedy of loss. And I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that, but just the ability to be able to open up with someone and say, look, they're always there. They can be there in a split second. They don't exist in a linear fashion like we do.
Right.
They can be in multiple places at once if they want to support a loved one in need. All you have to do is think about them, and they're standing right behind you. I have seen it, faces right here. They'll whisper gently in your ear and try to guide you and comfort you. And that's where the psychometry comes in. I will get an object from that person that belonged to the loved one. And a lot of the emotional energy is contained within objects. That's where I started learning physics, because I wanted to understand how the recorded energy gets into objects or space.
Sure.
And it is extremely accurate, but there's two methods that come through when it comes through with a psychometry. It's a what we like to use in paranormal is intelligent and residual.
Yes.
So I'll either get a video that plays in front of me about what happened in front of the object. It could have been a traumatic event, or it is the person that shows up, and it's usually on one left or right side of the individual that's sitting in front of me. And I'll say, oh my gosh, this person just popped up. They got blonde hair. It's parted to the side. It's shoulder length and a tiny little bit curly. I get the whole thing. And they're going, oh my gosh, that's my sister, or something. So,
Yeah.
And I usually get that part first. They'll say, they're your uncle. And that comes through very clear for me. But names are a little more difficult sometimes.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, but that's a little. Is that you find it like a little like the people feel a little unsettled at first, but then more you calm them down at that point.
It can be, but usually I don't do a reading for somebody unless they ask me.
Right.
It has to be a permission for me. It's part of my medium ethics. I just don't jump out and say, let me give you a reading. It's
surprise.
Because it can be very intimate and very powerful emotionally, and I don't want to put them in a spot where the environment that they're in is not conducive for that.
Yeah.
They need to be able to let out that emotion and feel free to share. And some spaces are not the right space to do that in. So
you've done investigations, obviously you've been a part of them.
Yes.
Is there a particular place that was just really strong in that space, in terms of instances where you saw something or felt something or just overwhelmed with it, like the amount of stuff? I know you've probably seen a lot because you're more sensitive to that stuff, but is there a particular almost overwhelming to you? Like
the first time I ever experienced a really overwhelming energy was the traveling Vietnam Wall.
Okay.
It came through our town, and my mom and dad and I went to go see it. It was one of the mobile ones that would just visit, So as I was coming through, and I was 16 at the time, I really didn't have a hold or grip on any of this. The emotions were so strong. I was bawling my eyes out, and I just cradled the gentlemen that were sitting on their knees and surrounding each other and doing this emotional support. I knew that they were Vietnam vets, and it just tore me apart. I couldn't handle it. I had to leave. And that's where I had to learn to manage the emotional side of it as well. I try to mentor those individuals that are coming through this to say that you have layers of shielding that are around you. You try to get enough information to bring it in about this close to be able to translate that emotion, feel the information that's coming in without feeling it completely.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it at the right distance, and sometimes it will flood through, and I'll go, wait a minute, give me a minute. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna, and you really want to start crying because the person is so relieved to finally get this message to a loved one that they're saying, look, I got your message. I was there when you did this, and it is not forgotten. I'm still here. I still love you, and it's very, very strong. So but as far as the specific spaces, again, you can walk through certain spaces and hit certain spots, and I feel like somebody walks through me, and I will go, whoa, 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 okay, give me a second, because you get real dizzy when they walk through you. Portals are also another one that throws you.
Have you ever heard of Andersonville, like the prison from the Civil War? I think it's.
Ooh, is it in Vicksburg or is it in?
I think it's down here. Do you have your phone? You can check.
What am I looking for?
Andersonville.
Anderson.
Yeah. I have not been to that, but
I believe it's Andersonville. But I know most people that go there end up feeling a little overwhelmed at it. So I could only imagine if you, when you have that, like the sensitivity and stuff on top of it, like how brutal that would be. Because I've talked to a lot of people who have visited there, and just the amount of suffering and stuff at that prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, Camp Sumter. That's what.
Okay.
So it's in Andersonville, Georgia.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of the forts and castles and graveyards, battlefields. Yes, I walked through one in England when I was on a walkabout, visiting family members through that area, and I was just on that border of Scotland and England, and we'd stopped a little bed and breakfast just to have a little bit of a tea before we went driving on through, and I was starting to see people walk through this little. I'm going, okay, what? You got a battlefield out here or something? Because it's really noisy out here.
Yeah.
And it was just an empty field, and that's when our
guide,
our service, person came out and said, "Oh yeah." And that's when she opened up to me, and I said, "Wait a minute, where's the butterflies? Why do the butterflies come in?" She goes, "Oh my gosh!" So she's like, "That's my child. I just did her whole room in butterflies." I said, "Well, your grandmother's here now, and she's saying she knows you did that, and because it was for her." She goes, "Holy cow! Okay, because it just happens very spontaneously, and it hits you in the most unexpected ways, and that's when you just got to be ready at all times." My life is not normal. It was just a few years back when we were investigating an old hospital in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. I love this place. The owner was amazing. He embraced us. He embraced the investigation. That was very fascinating to him. And that before I even went into the building, I knew what it looked like on the inside. This was the first time that had ever happened to me. I could see through the building, and I said, "Well, we got a female up here, and we got a little girl down here, and I can start seeing them before I even go in." It's that. And I said, "So where's your basement at?" And she goes, "Well, basements are very rare in Oklahoma because they have a clay soil compound, and it's not easy to build a basement in it." She goes, I don't think we have a basement. She's worked in that building for 5-10 years with a coffee shop. I said, "Well, call me when you find it." I said, "It's a 20 by 40 with the dirt floor, and it's got an old water heater sitting in the middle of it." Right. She goes, "Wait a minute. Huh?" 2 days later, she sends me pics
Yeah.
of a 20 by 40 dirt floor, wood beams above, an old water heater in the middle of it. And I went, dude, that was cool. Yeah, they kind of give you flashes of just snapshots or yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, I'm gonna ask the question.
Okay.
You actually watched the last one, but pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Oh, that's I'm a yay on that, but
There you go.
yeah, I like it.
See, I'm winning. This is it.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
It depends on the day for me. So
Okay. Yeah, I kind of grew up with that. Yeah.
Yeah. We yesterday it was, I think, either even or it was nays were ahead, but yeah, it's
or they just didn't like pizza at all.
Yeah,
And I
or they
got
didn't like
nothing
pizza.
for that one.
yeah.
Really? Are you kidding me? Who doesn't like pizza?
Apparently
I'm not
two
gonna
people.
point,
There's apparently
but-
2 people. One
Apparently.
here and one kind of where we work at that we've talked to in the past.
Oh,
Who doesn't like it? But yeah, I've only heard of 2 now.
okay. I love
so-
that question. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining
Well,
us.
thank you. I appreciate your time.
It was
and
fun.
This was amazing.
It wasn't too painful, was it?
No, not
All right,
at
it was
all. You
great.
guys are gentlemen. Thank you for your time, Chris and Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
It was
Is
great.
there anywhere where they can find you for social media?
I'm both on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm the Joy Medium 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank
Bye.
you so much.
Headset. There. Good job. Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Yeah, you seem comfortable, don't? talking Folly Safe on a very special talk on Tiffany. All right, we're live actually. Hello. You sit right there. I'm gonna be you in this scenario where I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I heard of that once.
Live right now? Okay.
You're the horror movie buff.
Trade it up.
I
All right.
like a lot of them, but I don't.
I hope I have good opinions about horror movies.
You know how much I had to adjust these? How big is your head?
Shut up, man.
You guys are different sizes.
Very different size.
You want to introduce? Go ahead.
All right. We are back. For those who are just joining us, I am Chris.
I am also Chris.
All right. We
This is
do
a lot
have.
louder. Wow.
It is a lot louder.
This is
Yeah.
how it's
Keep
supposed to
telling
be
you to turn
right
it up.
here. Yeah, whatever.
We have another guest with us. So to introduce yourself.
My name is Mel M, and I'm with Ghost Town LLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked to Ghost Town a little bit yesterday.
Yep.
About the app, the website, all that stuff, the cool things y'all are doing over there. But
We talk about something a little different
yeah,
today.
We're gonna go
Yeah.
Change
completely
the topic
different.
up. So you're very passionate about horror movies.
That's right. I watch a lot of horror movies, especially foreign and bad horror
Okay.
movies. Well, bad is subjective. Maybe low budget,
Low budget.
Love it.
Low
Yeah.
budget.
Indie, low budget,
indie low budget,
or what's the other one? Corny. That would probably be the one.
corny,
Yes.
yeah, campy.
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 Thank you. That's the
a
word I
good
was
one.
looking for.
Campy.
Yep. So favorite low budget horror movie.
It's gonna have to be Terrifier. At a $35,000 budget, that movie is excellent. I feel like the original storyline and the gore is excellent. You can really tell the passion in that project. And I met Damien Leon in a horror convention, Spooky Empire in Orlando, I think in 2021 or 2022, and we were just talking about original stories in horror movies and how that's a passion of his, and I think that's a passion of mine when I see it on film, or it makes the movie or film or media more exciting.
So for us who don't know what that is, can you give like a quick rundown of what it is? Don't give anything away, but
The
like,
the Terrifier movie.
yeah.
I think it came out. What is it? 2016.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's right.
Sounds about yeah.
That sounds about right.
There's been like 3 since then.
Terrifier has really gone off the ground. It has 3 movies currently, all directed by Damien Leon. And the first movie, like I said, was $35,000.
Yeah.
And it's about Art the Clown, who's played by David Howard Thornton. And he basically murders some hot teenage girls, or I guess they're in college, hot college girls.
Huh.
And maybe a sister, too. So... And some construction dudes.
So a romantic comedy, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
definitely.
cool,
There's
awesome.
a lot of romance in that movie.
You gotta love them. Yeah.
I think one of the things like a lot like most about those movies is they use a lot of practical effects. So but the way they film it just looks so real. I think that's like part of what makes it so terrifying.
I believe they only used a few CGI in that movie, and that was for some blood splatter, but it was practical effects. And so when they saw the girl in half, which is my favorite scene, I love it
They
so
actually
much.
sawed her in half.
She's upside down, and they saw her in half from the top. It's quite brutal, but it's excellent. So I really appreciate the kind of graphic nature of that
Yeah.
in a movie.
At the end of the credits, instead of saying like no animals were harmed, for those they explicitly had to say no people were harmed in the making of this movie.
I think they had to say that.
Yeah.
It does. A lot of those scenes, well, especially in the second one, look very realistic.
You didn't have to do the same thing for that like cannibal movie.
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah,
Because
Holocaust,
they actually did kill animals in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
A turtle, a dog.
Yeah.
turtle scene was brutal.
No, the turtle scene is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can't forget that.
Yeah, we watched that at a sleepover when I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I started young watching these terrible.
And how many times have you seen it since then?
One time, that was it.
You only need the one time.
Yeah.
That movie's excellent. No humans were killed, but animals were killed.
Yeah.
And those movies like that pioneered the no killing of animals or no harming of animals in like horror or other media. But I think that's an Italian movie, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I do remember reading that the director paid the actors and actresses to disappear for like a few months after the movie was made to make it feel more like a documentary. And then there was a lawsuit filed against them, and they actually had to bring them into court to show that they weren't harmed and they were still alive.
I feel like Blair Witch tried to do a similar thing, but to try to say like their actors were dead, like or missing because of the Blair Witch,
Yeah.
because more
Yeah.
like a real found footage, but obviously not as brutal.
I still remember when that
Yeah.
came out because I remember the whole buzz behind that was just like, oh my God, it's real found footage. I'm like, yeah, because you would release that in a film. That makes sense.
It just something about a map.
Yeah.
Just
That's true. So Terrifier 2 came out several years after, and they had a much larger budget, I think $250,000. And Terrifier 3 came out for Christmas more than a year ago, and is that right? I'm not sure. And that was like $2 million. So you can really
Yeah.
tell. You
Mhm.
keep up with. I love the also the kind of like the motivation that Damien has, or for anybody that's into the film or any passion project, is like you just keep at it.
Mhm.
You just keep showing your passion and keep showing up, and you're gonna find success. So I really like kind of like that kind of. He keeps going with it, and it keeps getting more successful because he's passionate about it. So I feel like anyone can resonate with something like that if they keep working on something. But that's not horror movie related. That's just
That's just
like-
life.
like
Yeah.
affirmations
Life.
and inspirational stuff.
So I'm gonna ask, were there any horror movies you watched growing up that you thought were inspirational? Something that really had an impact on you?
Damaging.
So
I could name a few.
I grew up LDS, so we didn't watch a lot of horror movies. We watched a lot of Charles Heston's Ten Commandments and other religious movies. So I started watching horror more later in life. So I've seen that Ten Commandments movie like a million times.
Have you
We were
seen?
forced to watch it in Catholic school every year for
Okay.
like 10 years.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but
It's
Wow.
good. It's
I have
good.
seen. There's a group of people that made 3 parody movie trailers, right? And they're like, and so one of them they do is called was it 10 Things I Hate About the Commandments?
Yeah.
And they they put the trailer together where it seems like a high school like comedy. Like it like starts out with Usher, like peace up, A-Town down. Yeah, it's like Ramsey is the cool kid in town. It's
Who
hilarious.
rules the
though.
school?
Yeah.
Who does it?
So it's like hilarious. That's the only real exposure I've had to that movie. I mean, I know of it. I've always known
You
of it.
seriously have to watch the movie. Like it's so dramatic.
I don't know if I really want to.
No, you should.
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Three and a half.
quality.
It's
3.5?
two VHS tapes.
Oh my,
Yep.
no, I'm good.
One
Good.
4K disc, so you wouldn't have to change, or you
Yeah.
can stream it.
Yeah, no. I'm
You
good.
know, I would watch a director's commentary about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to watch the trailer thing. Like, with Sinead O'Connor,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
Samuel L. Jackson as Principal Firebush.
The
It's
burning bush.
It's pretty great.
So I recently watched when it came out for Christmas, Nosferatu.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were we talking about A24 films earlier? Maybe. But-
Might have.
Oh no, sorry, that's not A24. What am I talking about? Robert Eggers.
Mhm.
Robert Eggers. And so I recently bought the DVD to watch the director's commentary, and you get so much like little insight into like what Robert Eggers is doing in the film that I don't know. I love all that behind the scenes stuff, and he
Yeah.
does comment about like some of the scenes having a bit too much atmosphere, which I also agreed when I watched it in theater. I'm like, ooh, it's a bit hard to tell what's going on, and the set looks amazing, but it's hard to see through the atmosphere. And he's like, we could have toned it down a bit. I'm like, I also agree.
Especially, the scene where they're meeting for the first time, and it's got like the bigger room with the fireplace going. It's
I
extremely dark.
love that scene.
Yep.
When I watched it, now I've seen Nosferatu 4 times, 3 times, and then once with director's commentary. But that scene where Nicholas Holt comes, and then it's Orlok. I love that sequence. The camera panning is
Yeah.
unsettling, and then Orlok is like moving around in this eerie, unsuspected kind of a way, and you're, what is going on? It's like a fever dream almost.
Yep.
You're like watching almost a fever dream, like a dream you would have yourself.
Yeah.
Like this is unreal, and I love that sequence. I would say that's one of the strongest sequences in that film.
So you have so much. It sounds like you have so much passion for that, especially the behind the scenes stuff. Did you ever consider doing like going into that kind of realm, that film, like director or film, working in film?
No, not really.
No. Oh.
I feel like I just like to know how it is, but
Ah.
I've never really been myself personally interested in doing that. I don't think I'm a very good writer, and maybe I could do some kind of direction or like managing like thing. I'm good at organizing stuff, but I don't know. I've never really done that.
Or consultant. You could be a consultant on a film like that.
Oh,
Not
wow.
gory enough. That's not gory enough.
Oh man,
Producer.
I would love to
Yeah.
be part of
Yeah, like
the
executive
process of
producer.
like developing something, but
Yeah.
definitely not a main writer or anything like that. But I definitely do respect people who do stuff like that. And even I think I heard it from Robert Eggers. He said in the Nosferatu commentary, he was like, the worst movies had some of the best people behind it, but
Mhm.
circumstances made it so something happened, and then the movie, something about it just didn't work. Well, which is true. So you have some of the best people, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But I do think Nosferatu works. I do like that movie a lot. It's a bit long though.
Yeah. I remember seeing that one Christmas Day at like 10 o'clock at night. That was a long movie at that time of day.
You know, it is. It was a bit of a quite of a long movie. And we were sat up real close. That my friend got the seats at the Cinemark or whatever. And I was like, we're really close. It was hard to tell because you had to like pan around and look at it. I also learned in that movie that they had the rats, but the foreground rats were real, and then the midground rats were real, and background rats were CGI based on the real rats. So they overlaid like rat footage,
Just to make it look like an army of
make it look like an army
Yeah.
of rats. And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
Genius.
We could have had more rat gore.
Do you have how about any like a gem like you? This is a horror movie that no one's gonna really know, like, unless they're just hardcore, or just stumbled across it. Like any particular movie you think that anybody should just take the time out of their day and watch. Not anything mainstream. So
Not anything mainstream. Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot. Because I'm
Sorry.
only thinking of mainstream movies right now.
not Troll 2 or anything.
Troll 2.
Troll 2 is kind of mainstream at this point.
It is
Everyone
now.
knows it as like the bad movie that's
Yes.
enjoyable to watch.
I have never
bad.
seen any of the Troll movies.
Oh, come
But
on now.
how many are there?
Was 4 or 5. There was quite a few.
Oh my gosh. What is the name of that? I think I know what it is. Okay. It's an
Mhm.
Australian movie. It's not good. No, let me rephrase that. It's very low budget.
Mhm.
And
It's good for what it is.
I think I was telling you guys I watch movies with my friends on Zoom, and we've been doing it in the pandemic, and then we rate the movies. I think it's called Killer Couch, Killer Sofa. It's Australian. The twist at the end. Okay, firstly, the movie is a bit long.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're like, the couch is killing people. Okay. But then there's a twist at the end. And you're like, how is this? Okay. I'm not going to say it's good, but I'm going to say the twist is excellent. And you probably are like thinking the couch is something else, but it is not that.
I was gonna guess it's a reality where the couches are the main and the humans are just food.
Oh, that's a good movie.
It's a twist.
Maybe the couch is like now the new predator.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
World Predator. No, it's not like that. So that movie is not good, or it's low budget. I'm not gonna say it's not good, but there's some scenes that could be taken out to reduce the time of the movie.
I'll say a lot. I know I'm a big fan of Freddy Krueger. Not so much like Jason was okay. I didn't really care about Jason as much as I did Freddy, but I loved Freddy versus Jason. Everyone's like, that's a horrible movie. I'm like, well, it's a horrible movie if you're looking at it through the lens of Oscar-worthy performances or anything else. I'm looking through the lens of a slasher film.
Yeah.
Nostalgia slasher film, and I enjoy it just because it's so campy and stupid, and it's right up the line.
I do like it. Freddy has a lot of good lines in that
Oh, he has
movie.
really good lines.
He has really good lines. I mean, they're kind of like taking them to their most exaggerated
Oh, yeah,
level,
yeah.
and so that's what makes it fun. I don't think
Yeah.
you're supposed to watch those movies like
No.
seriously. Also, I don't like it ended in a tie, didn't it?
Yeah.
Who do you think
Some-
would really win though?
Well, I mean, sort of. When you're completely decapitated and stuck in the real world, it's kind of hard to say you tied Jason. But yeah,
I don't think
I
any
do
of them
get-
ever really died though. So like
no, they don't
yeah.
die. But
Yeah, but in like any of the other movies, like who would actually win?
yeah, I don't know. And the fact that the teenagers actually, kind of shifted because Freddy owned him for their fight until he got pulled into the real world, and even in the real world, he was beating him with a machete at one time.
You
like,
know
it
what?
was like,
He did come into the real world, and he was
Yeah.
kind of kicking
Yeah.
his butt down.
yeah, it seems
Yeah.
to be if it wasn't for the teenagers, it would have been bad.
I
for
met
Jason.
Robert Englund in a horror con in Miami. I forgot what it was. It was a while ago. and he was super nice. He spent the time to talk to everyone. So if you ever get a chance to go to a con and meet Robert Englund, now that he's older, it might be more difficult. The line is like astronomically out the door, but he does take the time to talk to everyone. So I really appreciate it.
Have y'all either you ever seen a movie with him in it? I don't know the name of it, but essentially they're a bunch of I don't know if they're demons or ghosts or whatever from a town. I think like a Confederate town or something like that. But anyways, this group of like college students or something stumble across it, and they end up basically trying to eat them all. At one point, they ram a stake up this dude and cook him on like an open fire. Yeah.
We were just talking about doing that to one of my partners yesterday.
Oh, that's horrible. But yeah, it's a movie, and I can't remember what the name of it is though. But it's like that. And so Robert Englund's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the leader of the town. And so they try to escape and stuff. Like I think two of them escape, but then there's a twist at the end of that movie too. I cannot remember that movie for the life of me, the name of it. And I watched it one night. It was on just randomly.
You say, was it on Tubi?
No, this was before streaming. Right? This was just.
I mean, it might be on Tubi now.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Tubi's got gems.
But it was a really good movie for what it was. Like it was basically just stupid jokes. Like it was very like Freddy Krueger 3 on, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 on kind of jokes and stuff. But it was really good.
I don't think I've seen that movie. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, you gotta look it up. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
One point, like it's how most slasher films and everything else, like there's like they're about to have sex, and then someone gets killed, but it's the girl is the demon or whatever, and she kills the guy at that point. It's a brutal scene. I won't tell you how she kills him, but it is pretty rough. Most of the death is pretty rough. It's a good quality family movie.
I think a movie that just came out, didn't it? It was on Shudder. Is it A Violent Nature, where it's like the POV of the killer, and it's like if something like a Jason is like, now you're seeing it from his perspective, like why he's kind of doing things and like how he's like hanging around, and that movie is fun because it's like you don't think about what that slasher villain is doing while he's not murdering you, and they hate any kind of fornication. So definitely got to murder those teenagers.
It's like the one I showed you yesterday, the dog.
From the point of view of the dog.
There's a movie where the point of view is the dog, and then you said there's one with the point of view of the ghost, right?
Yeah, that one just came out in January, so it's a haunted house movie from the point of view of the ghost. So,
oh, really?
I think it's called Presence. I think is what it is. It was in and out of theaters really quick.
Oh, it might be on something, maybe Shudder or something. They do get a lot of random movies like that.
What's the movie where the serial killers have a person they have to protect while killing the other serial killers' people? Have you not seen that one? I've been watching clips. So clips keep popping up, and it's.
Do you know who's in it?
Yeah. No. I've seen clips because like at one point, like these two girls, like this girl's there, another girl's running away, and he throws an axe and kills her, and then waves at the other girl because that's the girl he's supposed to protect. And so the whole point is like they get like a reward or something for protecting if the girl survives the whole time.
This is a show?
No, it's a movie.
This is a movie.
It sounds like an interesting premise.
It's very interesting.
That's
premise.
an interesting premise.
And so he's like, it's just funny though because he's like he kills her and like screaming, and she looks back at him. He's like, "Hey," just like waves at her.
You know what is also a pretty good movie? If you've like The Conjuring, right? Like the what's that guy's name? Oh my God, Jason Wong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, is that right? Yeah,
I think it's James Wan.
James Wan, The Conjuring, right? So there is like I believe it's Indonesian. It's called Satan's Slaves, but I believe the font, since it's red, I always read in my crazy mind Santa Slaves. It's not. It's Satan's Slaves. That one has got a lot of like Conjuring vibes, like how that movie is about a mother that is like she made a pact with the devil to have children, whatever. And I recommend watching this movie if you like The Conjuring. And basically, there's like a cult and stuff like that, and they're being haunted by like the demonic forces of like the pact that the mother made. So how was I bringing that one up? Oh, because that one has a lot of vibes like that. So there's a lot of foreign movies that have similar vibes to like American like made movies. So that one is a good one, and they're even dressed in kind of like their 70s kind of clothes, which is interesting. So it is a period piece. Like they are really supposed to be like in that time. So that movie is kind of fun for like a foreign horror movie. I guess it's more thriller, not so much a horror. Where I'm not like it's not particularly scary.
Yeah,
I do think the Conjuring had more better jump scares.
right. That's like a lot of those like foreign horror movies I've watched. Like most of them, it's more just based on the gore and the story than it is on like the jump scare.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of gore. Oh, which one did I see? The Sadness. Do you see that on Shudder?
I've read about it. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, The Sadness was one of my movie picks for my movie night. And I didn't know what I was getting into, but let me tell you, the gore in that, excellent.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of eye gore. There's quite a bit of eye gore, and I like that. So, a lot of blood in that movie. And I don't know. There's not really, the plot is whatever. They're just trying to escape. And basically, all of them are just horrific zombies, kind of like, or they're like mutated, but it's kind of like that 28 Days Later, where they're
Okay.
kind of like fast.
Yeah.
And they're intelligent. They can use a gun. So they're pretty intelligent.
Yeah.
Like they're not just like quite zombies. They're not quite zombies, but that movie's really good for a 4-1. If you like really like gore, I would say that's pretty gory. And I think I saw that on Shudder.
I mean, speaking of like eye gore, I think like the craziest one I've ever seen is the New York Ripper, where the serial killer has a Donald Duck voice.
Maybe I've seen that one.
Sorry, I'm trying to find that movie. I think it's this one called The Furies.
The Furies or the Furries?
Furries or whatever.
Is it 1 R or 2 R's?
Furies.
Furies.
I've seen the name before.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so basically just hunted by these guys. I think that might be it. I'm still trying to
Almost
review.
looks like
You're
the
talking about
Hills
the
Have
one with
Eyes.
Robert Englund?
No, the one where he
Oh,
waves at the girl
the
after he
serial
kills the other girl. Yeah.
Have you guys seen that TV show, Slasher? Or I don't know if you watch TV shows, like horror TV shows.
I haven't seen that. No.
No.
So I believe there's 4 seasons. I've seen 3 of them, and each season is kind of like a slasher, and they don't really. I don't believe they really lead into each other. Is that correct? I don't think so. But I remember the 2 of them very well. It's been a while since I've watched them again, but they're pretty good. The first 2 are really pretty good. You're trying to see like who's the killer. There's a lot of deaths, like in every episode, a death or 2. So people are pretty constantly dying, and that's a pretty good horror TV show series that is like a slasher.
Okay.
Which is not that common. A lot of slashers are just movies, but this is a show.
Yeah.
I don't know how many episodes are. Probably like 8 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, your comments are gonna murder me. Like, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. It's been a while since I've seen it, so
We'd probably have to have people actually watching the.
they'll fact check me later once you guys are popular. But I have watched, and I do really like the TV show From. That is a horror TV show made by a writer and a producer of Lost. So have you ever seen Lost? So it's got a lot of Lost vibes, which I love Lost. And From is like I believe they're filming in Canada somewhere, and it's basically like people are driving somewhere, and then they get stuck in this town, and they can't leave. And at night, like monsters come and pretty much kill everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's unraveling the mystery. So I'm like enthralled in the community, like on YouTube and stuff like that, of like watching videos and interviews to determine, like, to find out the mystery. And so it is horror because there is a lot of like gory death in there, which I really like. And then there's also the lost aspect of like, what the hell is going on in this weird town that people can't leave. So I recommend From as a TV show, a horror TV show to watch.
Yeah. I've
That
seen,
new
like,
season
clips
is
for
not
it, but I
coming
don't know what's going
out.
on.
Yeah, the last season just ended sometime last year, pretty late last year, but the new season's not coming out until early 2026. So we're waiting quite a while before a new season comes out. Like, it takes a while for them to film and edit it. But I would recommend From and binge it before the new season comes out.
Cool. I have to ask, why is all this liquid on this table, man? These are both your drinks.
Okay, that one you've had since like way earlier in the day.
That's fair. It's been a while.
I asked you, is it the same one from earlier? And you said yes.
Well, you might have seen mine. So I had the exact same drink, but that's
I've
long
been holding
gone.
this for like 2.5 hours.
Really?
I haven't been able to get away.
Yeah.
You can drink it. I don't think people can hear it
Yeah.
if you drink it.
What do you mean get away? It's just there. Just drink it. What are you
Yeah,
talking?
we've been doing back-to-back podcasts.
You can still drink. I drank my beer through the whole thing.
Yeah.
People can't hear you drinking if you sit like back away.
The straw, kind of like
the
it does
podcast
make
is
like a
based
high-pitched sound.
The podcast is based on drinking. We actually have a drink in his hand, so you know this
Yeah.
is
What kind of drink is that? Whiskey sour? That's what I would have. Yeah.
probably, yeah. It's just basically just whiskey.
Yeah.
A nice Velton or whatever it is, pecan turtle whiskey.
A peanut butter whiskey?
No, this
Peanut
is
butter pecan whiskey?
yeah. It's one of those like the turtles. There's little turtle
Turtle.
pecan caramel chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a whiskey manufacturer that makes one. It's really good. I like it. Mix it with cream soda, it becomes like a butterscotch candy. It's
You
really
just
good.
drink that straight up?
Oh, it's great. It's really good.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I'm like a whiskey sour kind of person.
Really?
So any whiskey will do for me.
We had a
I'm
friend-
not a connoisseur on whiskey.
Yeah, no, neither am I. That one tasted good, so I started drinking it. That's the end of it.
I've tried a peanut butter one, but then I'm like, I can't mix this really with anything except maybe Coke. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be a rough one.
Be a weird
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, drink it
mix-
straighter. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We went up to Lynchburg for an investigation, and we went to the Jack Daniel's distillery there and did a tour and did a flight of whiskey there. One of the most miserable experiences of my life.
It was.
You were so drunk or something?
No, I just don't.
You threw up?
I don't like it.
You
No,
don't
I
like
didn't
Jack
throw up.
Daniels.
I just don't like
Yeah.
Jack Daniels.
The,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
the Frank Sinatra one was amazing though.
Yeah, a little bit. It was fine.
Oh, you both did it?
Yeah, it was a group of us. We all did it.
How many little sample things they gave you?
It was like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty good.
And you came out lit?
No.
no, they barely give you like any
Whack.
because it's considered a dry county, so they
Ew.
actually aren't allowed to sell alcohol. Their little gimmick when you go there is they go to the gift shop and they have the full bottles and they're like, oh well, we're selling you a glass bottle that just happens to have alcohol in it, so you're not actually buying the alcohol. That's
Well, we did the tasting. They did have a flight where you guys would drink all of actually drink stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't do all that because we had an investigation that night and we need to be just stupid drunk before we came into it, which would have made for great, especially since we didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot better, but whatever.
You could have done a podcast right after and be like, we just drank all these
Yeah.
Jack Daniels.
But
Yeah.
We went to because I'm from Miami, but we went to a winery called Schneblies or Schneeblies in Homestead. And we took my mother-in-law and she's like, this wine is so good. It's so sweet. It's delicious. She got turned. She threw up in a plastic bag outside the car. It's like, we can't take you anywhere.
wow. No,
I mean, we're getting a little tipsy, but she's like, I just want to keep drinking and drinking. And she kept and the wine is sweet because it's based on like different kind of fruit, like avocado. I think there's a coconut one, a guava one.
Mhm.
So not grape wine. And so it is sweet, and that's what's dangerous about it.
yeah, we
They give you a lot though. They
we
don't
used-
care.
There used to be a bar near where I live, and they did the slushy mixing, like the wall, so you can
Oh,
pick
like
whatever-
Fat Tuesdays.
something like that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
what was it called? Ace did it. What was it called? Rum Runners.
Okay.
And yeah, so many people had to get pulled out of there for alcohol poisoning just because it was so it was so deceptive. It was all Everclear. It's Everclear in those slushies,
Stop.
but you can't tell. And so you'd see these like lightweights come in and just chug one. They'd go for a second one. I'm like, yep, that one's getting pulled out of here in a minute. Yep, that one. It was ugly.
And
Because I drink one and
yeah.
be like, just give it a minute. I'm feeling great.
because it tastes good and
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't taste the Everclear.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
chug them.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
In Miami, there was this place called Coconut Grove called Moe's. So if any of your people are from Miami, they might know a Moe's from a while ago. They had this drink called Moose Juice. It has Everclear and like 5 other kinds of alcohol and juice.
Mhm.
Okay, you cannot taste how much alcohol is in it. So we recreated it in my house. Like, yeah, I can only drink maybe like half of one currently. I'm not as young as I used to be. So younger, I could probably drink like 1.5 and be like, I'm good. I can only drink half of one before I'm like, I'm drunk. Like, this is a lot of alcohol. It does not taste like that though.
Yeah, when I was in a band, we did a place in Capital. It's called Capital City in Oconee, or around there, Millersville, I think. Millersville, sorry. And they had a drink called a Caribbean Punch, and it's just like all different flavored rums. It's all mixed together, and then they like splash a little bit of pineapple and a little bit of cranberry, but just like barely any. It's all the rums. That is the most addicting, dangerous drink.
It tasted good.
Oh, it's just amazing.
That sounds delicious.
No alcohol taste whatsoever. And like I remember drinking like I don't know quite a few, and doing. They said I did snow angels on the stage at one point, and then I know I got home. I was fine. I thought I was fine, and I lay in the bed.
Mistake.
And then everything just spins.
You should have
Yeah.
stayed
I
sitting
should've-
up the whole time.
Should have just stayed up. But yeah, that deceptive drinks there. Back to the horror, right? That's the
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause we're about to have to head out soon.
yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, it's past time. This thing's shutting down for the evening.
Yeah,
It's almost-
that's
throwing
true.
their,
It's almost Saint
Stuff up, yeah.
Patty's party time. They're gonna do it inside today.
They have to do it inside because of the tornado watch or whatever that's going on.
So it's the
Yeah.
the
got a
Blue
choice.
Ridge room, I think they said. Something like that.
yeah, it was a Blue Ridge room.
That's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
people are gonna get lit. I guess it's not a party unless it's a tornado party.
That's true.
In Florida, we have hurricane parties, so
Yeah. Well, T Dog brings the same energy he had earlier. I think it's gonna be.
oh my
lit.
gosh, he's gonna break it down on the floor.
Yeah.
He was rapping. He knew like every word to that song.
Another love train go through there. Hopefully.
You
They
gotta
don't
do
want me to
another
get-
podcast, so
I-
you could do it right in front.
You
this
need
time.
to get on the dance floor and break it down too. You
I'll
said
get
you
up-
like to dance,
I'll
right?
get up and rap. I ain't got a problem with rapping. Me and him will get up there and rap.
You probably need a few more whiskeys for that.
No.
You could do it right now.
No. What?
You could do it right now.
Oh, rap?
No, like
Oh,
to
sorry.
go to when
Yeah,
we do the
bar's still
party.
Open. Yeah.
I don't need drinks for that.
Do that just for fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just for fun.
Yeah. That's just what I do. Yeah. This is a drink just for the hell of it.
You must be a hoot at like a wedding or Latin people have like quinceañera or like 16s.
Yeah.
So break it down on the
I would
dance
say
floor.
it probably used to be more of a hoot. Now it's more of a liability. You know what I mean? So- yeah, the defibrillator.
No,
I
stop.
could have something out there, just like drag me out. Yeah, just need at least something like a stretcher.
Gotta have a medic on
Yes.
the side over here just in case he busts an ankle or something like that.
Crap.
Set me as your emergency contact. They call me. I'm like, he's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Is he
awesome.
actively bleeding anywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's great. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. He can't breathe. Nah, that's fine.
Is he wheezing a bit
Yeah.
or is he wheezing a lot?
Just tell him to walk it off.
That's true.
Most likely, I'd be fine the night of. It's the next day when I can't move anymore because all the joints were like, "Yeah, screw you, man. We're taking the day off."
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what it is about like dancing a lot when you're older and then also drinking a lot? It's like that alcohol depletes all your nutrients. You wake up and you're like, I'm like,
Yeah, it's like I had a flu.
yeah, it feels like you're sick.
Yeah.
So young people out there, take advantage of being like really
Yeah.
drunk and being not like able to sleep like 2 hours. Like party it up as much as you can. 'Cause
young people.
once you get
drink
older,
more.
drink more and party more because once you get older, you're gonna want to do it and you just cannot physically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you keep it up the whole time,
Yeah,
which is really hard to do with work.
I know eventually you're gonna have to come off that wagon, and it's not gonna be good for you.
Yeah, I tried to party with some people that were younger, and it's like, I threw up.
yeah. You
Cannot
can do
hang
it.
no more like that.
Nope. Yeah, it's a nightmare. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I hope I had some good recommendations for your people from Killer Couch or
That-
Murder
that's-
Sofa, something like that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to check that out
I'm gonna
ourselves.
check that out.
Yeah, you gotta watch that.
I'm all about like deathly just random furniture, I guess.
It's good.
I didn't know that was a genre I cared about, but now apparently that's it.
Killer Furniture. There's also Slacks, SLAXX. Is there another X? Maybe, I think it's only 2X.
Like
It's about
pants?
killer jeans.
Wow.
It's a bit too long. You know, they could reduce maybe 15 minutes from the movie, but I respect it. It was on Shutter.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I would have guessed that. Shutter or Tubi has to for a movie of that fine quality would have to.
It was about low to mid tier.
Yeah.
Of budget.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to check that out too.
Yeah, it sounds.
Not that I'm going to watch the whole movie, but I will at least want to see at least one death scene to see how it's killing people.
I think it happens early on. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty. It could be more brutal in the Slacks, but the killer one is good. It's like funny.
All right.
It's a bit comical.
I was gonna say definitely want to see the couch death scenes because I've already seen Gary Oldman halfway into a couch in the movie Tiptoes, so at that point I'm not surprised anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Are they able to, like, when they go to the couch after it killed someone, if you like reach in, can you find that person like they do like coins when the coin falls on the couch?
Oh
You,
man,
you just like find a finger.
Yeah, it's like,
I
oh,
think
look
they
at that.
do find some aspects of somebody in the couch.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about like body parts, but I think they're like something is going on with this couch, and they find like evidence or clues.
Quick sidebar: I had a friend who had a snake, like a python, and it would get out of its like cage thing or tank or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would always get in the couch, and so you'd just be sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden the snake would just pop out right there. Usually wouldn't hurt you. It had bit a couple of people, but for the most part, like, he wouldn't tell you. So you'd need to, when you came into the room, you'd always look there first, because if it wasn't in that tank, you're like, man, screw that. You better find that damn snake. I'm not sitting down again.
That's its own horror movie.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
just popped its head out.
No,
Pretty good sized snake. Wasn't anything monstrous. Like, it couldn't
Doesn't
eat
matter.
you, but
it's in the
damn
couch.
sure try.
It's in the couch. Doesn't matter
He
anymore.
never fixed that tank so that it wouldn't do that.
Eventually he figured out how to do it, but sometimes it would, like, it's really strong and surprisingly quick for a snake. And so, like, he would have to hold something while he was lifting it up to try to feed it, and it would start getting out. And then if you didn't get a hold of the head ahead of time, it was pretty quick at getting down and going around. He could catch it most of the time, but a couple of times he got it. And sometimes he do it for fun too. I don't trust him. I think he knew. He's like, yeah,
Just kind of to
we're about to watch the
rile you
Super
guys
Bowl.
up.
Yeah, we're gonna watch the Super Bowl. Watch me slip the snake in the sofa.
That's a weird statement.
Yeah. Wow.
Watch me slip the snake
Yeah.
in the sofa. I
I
don't know
did-
about that.
That's a pickup line I've ever heard one. Hey, girl, let me slip the snake in your sofa. I'm like, what?
Excuse me?
What? I don't know if I'm offended by the fact that you're calling it a sofa. I don't know what the
Or a snake?
Yeah,
Barely.
yeah.
I had a Argus monitor lizard that would escape its cage, but eventually we just made a washer dryer room into a area for it, and
yeah.
it never escaped because that thing was locked in there.
Oh, nice.
But those things are smart; they can like claw their ways out of stuff. But a snake is like you just put the weight.
Yeah.
They are sneaky though.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Take your 5 to 7 break that they give us apparently before you're supposed to go to events. That's what.
Yeah, I guess it's just for people who need to take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Or you
mean,
drink more alcohol.
I'd take a nap if the bed didn't feel like a giant cement block.
It's a bit hard.
Yeah, a little rough.
No amount of padding.
All right. Well, talk honor to me. Thanks for everyone for joining us for day 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and check out ghosttown.global
That
when you
is
get the
right.
chance
Yes.
for a paranormal tracking platform.
Correct. All right. Y'all have a good one. Even with the table, we bring the table too.